Welcome back, everybody, to episode number 57 of the From the Stands podcast. We are here with our good buddies, Stallone, Peter, and Jared. We are here on this March 19th. We're here on a Wednesday, the day before the madness begins.
Yes, sir.
We are in March, boys. And the reason that we have our couple good friends here with us is because basically their favorite sport all year round is March Madness. So they are obviously experts in the field, so we decided to have them on to speak about
Are you
the
guys
sport they love
experts?
so
No.
much.
No, not this year.
I actually
Proclaimed,
I had a really good
self-proclaimed.
close bracket when I was like in middle school.
You had a really close, like perfect.
It was like 98th percentile, and I've been.
Do you
chasing
have that
feeling.
bracket? Like, can we see it?
It's on ESPN.
Is it on
I
ESPN?
could
You
go
can look
show
it up. All right, look it
I
up.
could
We'll
go
put it
show
on the.
it.
We'll put it right here if we actually get a hold of it. But I
Was the
think
year
he's
that
lying. So.
UConn-
How old were you when your champion won for the first time?
I think I was 12. It was when
Oh.
UConn won.
Wow. Okay.
Mine was Louisville, 14.
Was that Kemba?
It was Kemba.
Kemba Walker.
I watched that Big East championship game and the whole tournament, the Big East, and I was like,
Was that when they were a
I'm gonna
7
pick them
seed?
to win.
Dude.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Dude, that's
nuts.
wild.
That's a
Anyway, we have no outline or no notes or
We're
anything.
here
We're
for
just
it.
kind of like winging it here. So
Yes, sir.
this could be chaotic or it could be really good. So, Fizzy
Yeah.
Boy, why don't you bring us into it here?
All right. Well, we're here at 10:46 p.m. on March Madness Eve. Peter just got back into the country. Tell us a little bit about that. You went out for your baby moon, got back to the country, couldn't wait after 2 days of being out of the country to be back in America.
yeah. America is the
You're
greatest
so
country.
freaking hick. bro.
America. This is a true story. I told Bryn this. We were there for like for a day or so, and it's really pretty. One of the cool things there's a lot of Americans that get like villas that live there, and they like retire there, like they live there. And I assume it's because it's cheaper. So it's like if you can't, like you could maybe afford a decent retirement, but you could go live there like a king. And I looked at Bryn and I said, I would rather buy a trailer in the middle of Kansas and retire there than retire outside of America.
Dude, you are.
It's like there's no way I'm retiring outside.
Dude,
of
I was talking to
America.
your wife when you guys got here, and I was just like, you like take pride in being so different. It's like
no,
annoying.
it's not though. It's true, and it's nothing against it. We had a great time. It was relaxing, but
How does Bryn feel about 3 dudes being at her house like right when she gets
Dude,
home
I-
from the trip?
I was telling Jared this when we got here because we obviously beat you guys here. Peter left us a key so we could get into his house as they were driving back from Charlotte. But I was telling Jared, I was like, I'm gonna thank Bryn like a million times because I would be like so upset.
What
I
a
just
Jared.
got, I know, I like if I just got back from a trip and there was like, not random people, but just like 3 extra people in your house
The
after you
boys.
just took a trip. I was like, dude,
we just go with the flow, man.
props to Peter's wife, Bryn. She's also 8.5 months pregnant. Close.
8 months.
Yeah, she's about to.
shout out.
Yeah,
she's
she's
about to
close.
pop. She's about to
Yeah.
pop. Peter's about to be a dad.
Yeah, Sam was roasting me like, "Oh, you didn't even go to the DR. You stayed on the resort. You didn't even like
You
leave the
didn't.
resort and walk around." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna walk off into this country with my 7 or 8 month pregnant wife. Like
That's
just-
true. Yeah, got to stay safe.
Still didn't
Yeah.
go to the country.
Yeah.
We drove through it.
Well, across from Peter, we have Jared back, and I just wanted to point out on our last episode, which did very well, guys. So that's also
Let's go.
a huge thing that happened. But Jared had like the best analysis for the Super Bowl. When we recapped it, all we could talk about was like how Jared was just right about
Just
this.
got
Jared-
it, nailed it.
Yeah. So Jared's gonna bring
Copy
the
and
good.
Perfect bracket
I'm
incoming.
copying
Yeah,
his.
perfect bracket incoming. If we get that, dude, this podcast is skyrocketing.
Oh,
dude.
goodness.
That would be so cool, so cool. But we're gonna get right into it. Yeah, we don't have an outline. We're just gonna kind of talk about it. Obviously, highlight some of the.
Well, we can
bigger
first
games.
mention that Jared is a proud, I guess, filler outer of brackets because
Dude,
Oh
Facts.
yeah, not this
go
year.
go back. Yeah, not this year maybe, but
Um,
in years past, you've been known to
so-
fill out many a bracket.
So my quest ever since probably middle school has been to fill out the perfect bracket. Last year I filled out 100, and that's not exaggerating. I think it exactly was 100.
Last
take
year?
us into your method and like how
Yeah,
you,
dive
so
right
you
in. Get us
decide-
started. This is how we're gonna start.
you said
the
you
method.
do like 20 this, 20
Do you want me to
that,
get into
all
the
this.
formula? Of
Dude,
like,
get
how I do
into it. We are diving in. We are
Okay.
not done until we've covered everything. This is
The
gonna be
key-
people's last minute
Yeah.
stop.
The key, if you really want to go just gangbusters on this, the key is you want to get to the first round, right? So you want to create as many different possible scenarios where you can get that first round and just ride that wave.
Right.
How many times like do we see brackets that within the first 2 games they're done because you're like so high on these two games or whatever?
Right.
You really want to go just like diversify, just like you would investing, like diversify the portfolio.
Finance.
So, if you can just go gangbusters and just create as many possible scenarios and just ride that wave, get through the first day, that's when you're like, all right, this could be the one.
yeah.
Last year, even after like I think partly because there was it a 15 seed last year, one 15 seed.
Yeah, wasn't it?
15 seed.
Yeah.
Princeton,
Yeah. So I mean that.
Auburn.
2024.
So now
Pretty,
it's like becoming where the 15 and 16 seeds are like viable, which has kind of created a little bit more just challenges with trying to get through the first day. But that's like the start. You want to try to get through the first day, and then from there just kind of ride the wave.
Okay.
From what I've seen, and Peter's got all the brackets that I printed out for him from when,
Dude,
from when
show the camera. Show how many you got. This is insane.
every bracket
And
from
he's actually gonna probably
So
fill out.
this
most
is from
of them.
1985 on, which is when they switched to the 68
Yep.
team
That's
bracket,
crazy.
and then this is anything past.
Dude,
But
I remember,
yeah.
I remember when I moved here, and you like I didn't know you very well,
That's
but
right.
you came over because I moved like in January, so then February, March, obviously, and we were living together, and you came over to talk, and I wasn't like that into it, like. To be completely
March
honest,
Madness?
I
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
like that into it. I loved watching the games, but like you came over and you just had like hundreds of brackets,
Dude.
and I'm just like, holy crap! I
Our-
think I fill out one every year.
my bachelor pad used to be, no kidding, was
gonna say,
our
yeah.
wall was printed out every single bracket, and it looked like a crime scene. Like,
Yeah.
like
That's
looking at all the
crazy.
different
Spread it out.
highlights, looking at different like the patterns and stuff like
I
that.
love that though.
Just like really in-depth analysis and just kind of just broad picture. A lot of people like to chalk it, and every time I see these analysts who like ones or twos that make it never
Never
happens that
happens.
way. You always have to have, I'd say, at least 3 of the 4 maybe top seeds, but one of the regions has to be just like a shot in the dark of usually it's like a 5 seed or lower that's that makes it. So that's kind of like we came up with this idea of the formula.
Gotcha.
If your bracket is chalk, meaning like all the high seeds are kind of making the final 4,
Mhm.
you probably have a good chance at like finishing well, and like maybe you're if you're in a group play.
Mhm.
But the goal is to get the perfect bracket, right? You're not trying to.
Absolutely.
I mean, even if it's a really bad, you fall down before you even start there. The key is to try to get maybe the high seeds in 3 of the 4 regions, and the last one is just
Gotchas.
like just shoot with a team and ride them as far as they can. So yeah, that's just what I've seen. We'll see how this year plays out. It's always fun to see what team gets hot and when, and we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, like you typically do well every year. From like we've been in some bracket challenges together. You typically do well. So I guess we should just dive right in. I wrote down some notable games. Like obviously, so we're gonna start at the top left. Is that technically a South region? It's not even on my bracket. Is that the South?
Yeah,
region?
South region.
South region. We're gonna start at the top, work our way down on the left side. Obviously, we got Auburn, Alabama State. Like, I mean, most of the country, unless people are really trying to pick up sets, you got Alabama
In-state
State.
rivalry, baby. No,
Absolutely. But the game that's going to tip off the tournament, Louisville and Creighton, we have a friend that plays for Louisville, so we've been keeping up with Louisville a little bit, which is pretty cool. But this one's like, I put this one down. I got Louisville winning. I think I'm just shading them a little bit, but I don't know. What do you guys think? What are you guys' opinions? on this
Creighton.
game? You got Creighton.
I do.
Why is that?
I got
though?
Creighton winning 2 games actually.
Is it because of size, shooting? Like I think.
So they still have their big center from last year, Kalkbrenner. They kind of got hot a little bit later in the season. They started out a little bit rough. They did really well in the tournament last year as well. They also have a point guard who is just a sniper from downtown. Never misses
That's
a free throw as well. I think his name is Ashworth, I believe. But
Looks
I
like he's
could
37. Dude.
Yeah, so they returned most of their guys from last year, so they have the tournament experience as well. So I could see them pulling an upset against Louisville, and I also have them beating Auburn as well. So I'm not as
Really?
confident about that one, but
Sammy boy.
got to have somebody in there. It's a little bit of higher seed, so I had them.
Yeah, this one's pretty close. Who you got, Pete?
I do have Louisville. This is a tough one. I hate these 8-9 matchups because they really can go either way. But I like what Sam's doing because just a little bit about me and how Jared and I have like the same path, but we go there a very different way. I'm more of a
That's why
bracket.
he always loses. To
I'm
me.
more of a bracket truist, where it's like I'm gonna make
Really?
one bracket, and it's what I believe is gonna happen. What I believe is gonna be the perfect bracket. So obviously my odds are significantly less than his of ever getting one. But I always make one bracket, and one of the things I do like to do, I usually like to pick a 1 seed to lose that second round game,
Gotcha.
or a 2 seed. I do not have Auburn losing that game to Louisville. I thought about it for a while, but I do have Louisville moving on over Creighton. But that's so hard because it's like, you have Creighton over Auburn. It's like, but Creighton could lose day one. It's just that's one of the things.
Another thing about Auburn as well, Janai Broom has been really, really inconsistent
Yeah.
in the last few weeks of the season, even in the tournament as well. So, you never know when he could kind of just, put up a stinker, and then his team is in trouble, at least against a good team like Creighton. If he does bad in the first game against Alabama State, the team can probably, at least get them over the hump. At least you think in theory, but we'll see. It's still a 16 seed, I guess. UMBC showed us that anything can happen. So
That's true. Who you got, Jared?
Yeah, I got Louisville, and it is hard with these 8-9 matchups. I was so bummed when I saw this because these are two teams I really, really like. And I hate that they're facing each other in the first round.
Yeah, how about
Louisville?
Just
a little
getting
bit low.
Louisville
Yeah.
got
Oh,
absolutely.
my.
People are talking about UNC, but this is a
They got holes.
There's a lot of questionable decisions in this year's bracket. I'm sure we'll
For
we'll get
seeding,
into
yeah.
Did you see the thing about the AP poll? So the AP poll came out and they were ranked in the top 10. They were 10.
Yeah.
1 through 9 is either a 3 seed or higher, and Louisville's the only one that's lower than that.
Yep.
An 8 seed. They're not even like a 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Absolutely
It's
hosed.
just-
They do get to play
What'd
in
you-
Kentucky though, which
and,
is huge.
And runner-up to Duke in the
Yeah.
ACC. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
Exactly.
just
Right, because
it's
Clemson
criminal.
got a 5, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
criminal
we'll
that
get to
their
them.
ranking. But
What do you guys think about Florida first overall seed? Because I feel like it was always
Florida
like,
wasn't first
It was
overall
Auburn.
seed. It was Auburn.
was it Auburn?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I saw Florida.
Yeah,
Never
no,
mind.
Auburn
Auburn's
got it.
overall.
I think Duke could have slipped in there just because they had the
Well, that's what I was
head-to-head
thinking. I was
and
like,
they
it's
won
either
the
going to be
tournament.
Duke or Auburn. Then I thought it was Florida, and I was
Yeah.
like, what the heck?
No,
am I
everyone's
in?
just
But-
high on Florida. I think like a
Yeah.
majority of the brackets have Florida.
Mhm.
But anyways, go ahead, Jared.
yeah, I was just gonna say for these games and for upsets, you typically see like if you're a really good 3-point shooting team, like those are the ones like the 3-4 team that you see those upsets of really good shooting teams. For this, Louisville has Chucky Hepburn, who's like a phenomenal defensive point guard. I'm a big defensive guy, and
Mm-hmm.
I just think he's going to shut down Ashworth potentially. And I mean, another thing that people, and I think some people are talking about it, but maybe not as much, is that this game is in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Like this is home court for
Whack.
Louisville.
It's like a 70-minute drive from Louisville's campus.
So yeah, I mean, as bad as it is that they're an 8 seed, this could actually turn out to be in their favor, and that's why I have them upsetting Auburn in the second round because of that home court advantage and Auburn being streaky. But I don't know. That's the madness. So
Yeah, for real. No, I have Louisville as well, and I kind of the same point to you. I think their guards can defend better than Creighton's. Now, the real game breaker is going to be Kalkbrenner from
Right.
Creighton.
He's
I
gonna-
think,
yeah.
and,
It's like
and again,
7 foot, dude.
our friend
He's
Noah
massive.
Waterman,
Noah
he's
Waterman.
going to be one of the guys that's going to be guarding him. So like, out of the bigs that Louisville have, if they can shut him down, I think Louisville wins pretty easily. But I think he's going to make it quite a game because what Louisville likes to do, they like to run like a high pick and roll with Chucky, and then they throw up lobs when they suck the big to him, and I'm just like, I don't know, that he's kind of like a one-man zone in the paint, and like obviously it's college, so you can just sit in the paint all you want. But I have Louisville moving on as well. We're gonna move on to the game on the bracket right under them, Michigan, UC, San Diego. A lot of people have this upset. Do you guys have this upset on your brackets? Anybody?
I don't actually.
I don't either.
So actually, I have Michigan. I really like Dusty May, what he's done there at Michigan. Obviously, was it FAU that he coached before that, and
Yeah.
took them really far. So he brought along with him Golden, I think his name is, the big center, he was phenomenal in the post. And then the transfer Danny Wolf from Yale. I remember, I think they upset their first round last year, if I'm not mistaken. And they together, they're a really good pick and roll between the two big men game of Danny Wolf and I was just watching the Big
Huge.
Ten tournament, and they really stuck out to me. I think they can go deep in the playoffs. I actually have them going to my Final Four in a lot of my brackets. So
Dang, wow, Final Four.
Wow.
That's bold.
That is bold.
Yeah.
But then again, you do
Honestly,
have
yeah. Honestly, the biggest thing for me, I didn't have quite that as much analysis on this one as the boy Jared did, but I feel like everybody's kind of looking at this one as like one of those 12 seeds that could upset Michigan. I think it could happen, but more often than not, the 112 that everybody's looking at doesn't happen.
right.
And another 12 might win. So that was kind of my thinking behind it. Obviously not super analytical thoughts behind that one, but yeah. So
Yeah. Who you got, Pete? You got Michigan, you said?
I got Michigan. I was looking at, I usually feel like I always lose these 12-5 games, so I try to pick them carefully. But it's kind of like Sam was saying, when everybody is so heavy on one team. And I also look really heavily into conference championship week, how our team's playing in March, and Michigan, they just won, correct?
yeah.
So just for context for everybody, I was
The country doesn't
grinding
know what's going on.
the conference championship week. I had watched more conference championship week basketball than I probably have ever in my life. And then Friday, I left the country, and I I have not watched a single minute of college basketball since then, except for what we have on now. So I literally came in and I walked in the door and I was like, hey, did UNC win? So I'm just still catching up on these things. But literally it was so hyped because when I was watching the selection show, it was one of the hypest things ever because I'm sitting there watching it in the hotel, or in our resort room or whatever. And then they like show Michigan and they're like Big Ten champs. I'm like, oh, Michigan won the, like, I didn't know. I had no idea. I didn't know who won the ACC.
Crazy.
Well, I assumed Duke, but so yeah, that was kind of hype. But yeah, I've got Michigan here. I just like, I've watched some of their games. They've got those two big guys, and they have the size, I think.
Yeah.
So everybody's kind of going towards UC San Diego. I think that's kind of a little bit too hyped, and I think Michigan will come out and they'll take care of business.
Yeah, definitely. I have Michigan as well. I think they're riding a hot streak right now. Obviously, won their conference tourney. UC San Diego. Like this is the one thing. Like I kind of put it up there, kind of like with like when we debate LeBron and Jordan, they never played each other. So you're never gonna like actually know who's better. It's the same with these different conferences, like mid majors. Oh my gosh, we can get into that. But you got these mid majors against these other teams in bigger conferences, so like they never play each other. Like maybe they have like a similar matchup in the non-con, but like they never play each other. So it's really hard to know like a good mid major. Are they really good, or is it just the competition that they're playing? I dove into the numbers just a little bit on Torvik. The one thing that's really, really interesting, UC San Diego is ranked 4th in not turning the ball over and ranked 10th in creating turnovers from the other team. And Michigan is actually ranked 294th in the country in giving the ball away, and then 334 in making the other team turn the ball over. So I think that disparity is a little. I mean,
Top 300.
If you can create turnovers, that just causes so many problems, even for a good team. So I think that's just a bit of a interesting matchup. Anyways, moving along, Texas A&M, Yale. Anybody got an upset there? Or we kind of cross the board Texas A&M.
I got Yale.
You got Yale.
I've got Yale in a lot of my brackets. So yeah, I mean they got the experience.
They don't got Danny Wolf, bro.
I know, and they don't have Danny Wolf. But I mean, what's the kid's name? I can't pronounce his name. The lefty shooter. He's a bucket, dude. I think he's the one who hit the buzzer beater in their conference tournament last year. They just have a lot of experience, and there's always one 4-13 matchup that I think happens, and I think this is the one.
So here's my kind of analysis on that. In order to do it, I kind of have to do a broad scan. So I do my bracket. I kind of look for specific matchups, and I look for specific upsets. So that's why I have all these brackets here. I've mapped out how many upsets we have in the first round, what seeds, things like that. So this year, like I said earlier, we always have 1s and 2s that lose either the first game or the second game.
Right.
I don't think that is going to happen this year. I don't see any of the 1 or 2 seeds. I see all of them in the Sweet 16. That could change. I mean, Louisville could beat Auburn. We haven't talked about it yet, but I think Gonzaga could beat Houston. Those could happen.
That's huge.
What I see happening this year is I see a lot of the 3 and 4s being really vulnerable in the first and second round. So that's kind of where I'm. For as far as looking pick and upsets, that's kind of where I'm leaning more toward is my 4s and 3s. And this is one I think that just Ivy League. I think Yale can pull it out over A&M.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
You got A&M though?
I do, yeah.
What's the reasoning for that?
I mean, I just thought I've seen A&M play a couple times this year. I think their defense is pretty solid. I think this isn't going to show up on the stat sheet or anything, but there's a couple guys. I think it was both of their starting guards, but they're just like, you can tell that they're level-headed, like they've been there before.
Right.
And I feel like that is going to come in big during the tournament, especially against a lower seed. And I think Yale is one of those teams that a lot of people are high on, and I think that they definitely could pull off the upset. But I think A&M with their experience and coming out of the SEC that was absolutely loaded this year, they're going to be ready to go for the tournament for sure. So
yeah, I got A&M moving on as well. I think I told you guys this off pod before we started, but if it's a close game and I'm not really sure who to pick, I'm shading SEC. And I know like a lot of people are just like, oh, SEC, whatever, once it comes to the tournament.
I have one thing to say about that though. Everybody's like, oh, 14 teams, whatever. But like the SEC like expanded by like how many teams?
That's true.
Like multiple conferences have like 20 teams now. So like,
yeah, but it
there's
goes back to what I was saying before. Like, I mean, you got these teams in lower conferences that like you have a
Right.
non-con, but it all depends on what you like, how you schedule it.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people don't schedule super hard in the non-con because they don't want to get to their conference tourney and like have so many losses and then lose in their conference tourney as well. I know you were talking about this a little bit, Peter, but like
Drives me
you and
nuts.
I are a little bit of like ACC purists. I know
Drives me nuts.
I love ACC teams, but like
Why?
There's no love for the
Syracuse.
ACC.
Yeah, exactly.
But because of watching ACC, to me, it's a much more pure form of basketball. SEC is just run up and down.
not anymore.
It's just run and gun. Yeah, that's true. But that's what I'm saying though, is that people like they look at Duke and they're gonna be like, oh well, they play in the ACC, they're weak. The ACC is down, yes, but to me, I look at the ACC and I also can communicate this to the Big Ten as well. I think the Big Ten and the ACC are the most like March ready leagues, and what I mean by that is I think SEC is so like heavy talent. It's so big players. It's big names. It's guys that are more likely going to go to the NBA and be successful. But it's so athletic and it's so fast paced. It's just defense. It's just run and gun. There's less like you don't have as good of 3-point shooting as you do on a team like Wisconsin. And then what happens when you get in the tournament? You're Auburn and you play a team in the second round, and you shoot one game 25% from three. Well, you're done.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. They come in and they get because they play so fast, and that's why Syracuse used to do so well is because we'd come out in a zone and we play a team like Michigan State who just wants to play fast and they don't know how to like make 6 or 7 passes. They're used to just posting the guy up and letting him score.
Right.
And so yeah, the whole SEC thing. I mean, I literally was just looking at last year's bracket. Everybody was talking about the SEC last year. We got to the Elite Eight and we had 3 ACC teams and 2 SEC teams. It happens every year.
I mean, you always got to take an ACC team like that. Like, hasn't that happened like 8 out of the 10 times in the last like 10 tournaments? I don't know the exact number, but like, there's been an ACC team, and everyone's saying that's going to be Duke this year.
And I know I just picked Auburn.
Yeah, what do you guys
Louisville,
have to say about the ACC being so top heavy? Like, yeah, you have teams that go far, but you're really carried by like
I
2 or
think
3
it's our
teams
coaching.
in there.
Like, there's so many.
Like UNC or Duke are like always gonna go far. in the
Right,
tournament.
but I mean, and it's also NIL too. Like, if you have a big name before NIL hit, you're gonna get more boosters to pay more money
Yeah.
into NIL. That's one thing that's happening with Syracuse. Like, a lot of our bigger boosters that were like kind of putting money into the
Finally
program.
getting NIL.
They're finally getting it this year.
Hello.
We also this is a side note, but we also need to get rid of our freaking coach. Holy
I
crap.
think that
No?
Syracuse paid
Autry?
out. Yeah,
Is that his name?
I think we give
Yeah.
him one more year
one more.
because he is a really
And
good
waste
recruiter.
Melo's
We've got a
son.
really good recruiting class. He's got to get another.
How
year.
many years you been there?
Yeah, but we
2.
had like 2 5-stars this year, and he did nothing with them.
Yeah,
5 stars.
We had 5
we
stars.
had. I think
this
we
year.
had one.
Boy.
we had
One
Donnie
or two.
Freeman.
There's like a 5.
But we had
and a 4.
we had injuries this year. We
True.
didn't. I think next year will be a different year. But
Still,
if
you
it's
got 2
not,
5
if it's not,
stars, bro.
It'll be different.
Got to do
story.
better
No,
than
but
7
like
and
to-
14 in the league.
I think I already forgot that. Did you ask why the ACC's top heavy?
Not why. I just said I was just challenging. I guess what would you guys say to the people that because you guys are like ACC always has teams that go far, but it's really like the same 2 or 3 teams.
No, it's not.
Right.
Last year, NC State.
Okay, last year.
Yeah, but that's why
In
we
gen-
love the
take the
Syracuse
last
made a run back in the
10,
day.
15
DJ Birds
years.
made it to the
Yeah.
Final Four, not NC State. DJ Birds.
Miami made it in 2023. They made the
Okay,
Final
I'm
Four.
not saying every
Anyways,
single
Syracuse
year.
had
I'm
a run.
saying in
But the
general.
reason is
We're going
I think
year by
because
year here. Sorry,
if you
let's go
look at
next
the
year.
if you look at the 4 teams that got in, you got Clemson, Duke, UNC, and Louisville.
Different this
Pat
year, for
Kelsey's
sure.
in the running for Coach of the Year. So is John Shire, and he's already like a fantastic coach. Brad Burnell he's already signing an extension at Clemson. He took them to the Elite Eight last year.
Virginia.
And then UNC's kind of like a little bit of an outlier this year because they were not doing good and they got in by the skin of their teeth. But he's like, I
Yeah,
would
it's
take
the
their
next game
I
on
would
the
take their
docket.
coach over our coach at Syracuse for sure.
Oh,
Who's
Herbert
Davis?
Davis?
And so like you look at the top 4
sure.
teams and you're just like, oh yeah, they have like really good. Like he took UNC's coach took them to the final in his first
Yeah,
year.
first
So
year.
Exactly.
so I mean, you look at those 4 coaches and they're just like, and then you look at the
Broke
bottom.
Duke's hearts
I
twice.
think-
in
My
that
truth-
same
my-
season.
Florida
Wow.
State's getting rid of their coach. I think Wake might be getting rid of their coach. There's a few teams on the lower end of the
Yeah.
ACC. I think it just comes down to coaching.
My answer to your question, Sam, is I actually don't think that there is a legit. Like I think if Wake Forest was in the tournament, they would make more of a run than a lot of SEC teams. Like that's I think that
Really?
it doesn't look because the ACC doesn't get
that's a hot
teams in the
take.
bid
Wake
because the ACC
Forest?
doesn't get
Wake
teams
Forest.
because the ACC doesn't get teams in the tournament, they don't get a chance. But when the teams that we do get in, they always make runs.
But
And
this
that's-
is where-
They lost in the first round in their conference tournament.
well, I was just making an example. I
But
don't know
this
about
is
specifically
where
Wake
I would
Forest.
push back, and I love the ACC. I really hope that it makes a comeback. But like, you have an opportunity against like Duke, a really good team, Louisville, a really good team, Clemson, a really good team. Like, you have to beat those teams to create parity and to create like getting into the tournament. Like, you need to win those games. That's what the SEC did, because like it's not top heavy with like an Auburn or an A&M or whatever. Like, all these teams are beating each other. Like Florida losing to Tennessee, Tennessee losing to Auburn, like, and just like like Oklahoma beating Florida. Like, that's why I would say the SEC is just like
Texas
stronger in
winning 2 or
general.
3 games in their conference tournament and playing to get in right now.
Yeah, we have the game on right now, the play-in games. But no, I definitely want to see the ACC make a jump in the next few years. But I think we lost a bunch of Hall of Fame level coaches, and like, again, back to my point, Virginia's coach quit, Miami's coach quit through the season, NC State fired their
In
coach.
season, that was pretty.
Yeah,
nuts.
in
I saw
season.
that.
Yeah,
NC
after
State
that
fired their
run.
coach. Florida State's firing coach. So it's just like it's a coaching
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
We just don't have the coaches
Who
anymore.
was it that let go of somebody like this week? I saw
NC
somebody.
State, wasn't it? Or
Yes, it was
yeah.
NC
Was it
State.
NC
Yep.
Yeah, he only had
It's
an
like,
extension because he
dude.
made it to the Final Four.
I know that's what I'm
Who
saying.
you
1
gonna-
year removed
Who
off
are you
of
gonna
Final
fire
Four?
after the Final Four? You can't do
But
that.
why are they move on from him now? Like, he lost his three of his 5 starters after a Final Four run, and
Yeah.
now you're fired. Like,
Yeah.
come on,
I
bro.
think they were always planning on firing him. They just
Why?
They just couldn't after he went to
Why?
the Final Four. I don't know. He's been on the hot seat for like 2 years and just done
Oh.
all right. And then this year they were
he had
like,
one good run.
yeah,
Alright,
and they were
that's
like,
fair, I
get
guess.
out of here. You don't have DJ Burns anymore.
Yeah.
But we're gonna keep it moving. The next game I wanted to highlight because it's another one that people have as kind of a toss-up, a 10-7. Marquette, New Mexico. I know New Mexico,
You
Mountain
skipped
West.
over UNC there.
I did. Oh, I did mark that one. We'll go back to that one.
Like the most heated
I know,
topic of the whole tournament.
I just marked that one
Most
down, and then we got
controversial
into the ACC, and I was like, oh, we're just moving on to what I have written down. I had just marked that one because I wrote these notes last night. But anyways, Marquette, New Mexico in the Mountain West. Not Ole Miss, Marquette, Big East. I got New Mexico winning this one, boys.
So-
Anybody got that?
The
So
Lobos.
yeah,
The
this
Lobos.
is I struggle with this one because
Hurley.
Richard Pitino is he coaching at New Mexico still?
Is it Patino or Hurley?
I
It's
don't-
Richard Pitino.
Is it
You're
Pitino?
right. Yeah. Okay.
So
I
he
couldn't
coached the
remember which
Gophers. Rip my Gophers. They suck again this year.
brother.
Another Minnesota team.
When's the last
Tragic.
time they made the tourney?
Dude, I think it was like 5-6 years ago. We lost the first game.
So
obviously.
same as the Oklahoma State. Cowboys.
But yeah, I know it hurts to see that we let him go, and he's actually doing really well with New Mexico. The thing that I struggle with this one is he doesn't do well in the tournament. He only has been there a couple times, but then you're also facing Shaka Smart, who also really struggles in the tournament. And ever since that VCU run, Marquette seems to always just choke. So. I guess this is a toss-up for me. I mean, you could go
Yeah.
either way. I wouldn't be mad at the Marquette or New Mexico. I have it about 50-50 in a lot of my brackets. So
Interesting. Who you got, Pete?
Yeah, I got Marquette. Same as Jared. It's pretty much a toss-up. I think either team will get smoked by Michigan State, so I don't think it
Yeah, I
really
was gonna
matters.
say.
not if they lose to Bryant, bro.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, Brian?
Brian, come
Doug
on.
Edern ain't there no more,
This-
I know,
boys.
we almost
This
had
is
a-
my Colgate
We
this
almost
year.
had a second
got that
year
one?
on Doug
Yeah.
Edern.
I'm
That
riding
would've
with
been
Brian.
wild.
You're
I'm
betting
actually riding-
against Izzo in March?
Yeah, dude, I am.
This
You're
guy.
a dumb person.
Dude, I am.
Dude, this is the best team he's had in like 10 years.
Why is he on the pod? Get him off.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yes, Middle
Expert,
Tennessee.
this
Middle
guy.
Tennessee.
That's
Middle
gotta be like a
Tennessee.
golden rule. Like, you just don't do that. in
No, I
March.
never do. But this is the year.
January,
This is I'm feeling it. I'm
February,
feeling it.
Izzo.
I'm
Like,
feeling
let's
it,
go.
bro. The one thing that with the Sparties,
I hope it's not a big wager.
didn't they lose to like Lehigh or something like that?
Bet his house
Middle
on fire.
Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee, and ever since that's been in the back of my mind. It's like they're not unbeatable.
Really?
Dude,
So
if Izzo is losing at halftime to another 15 seed, he's going to break so many laws at that halftime locker room
Dude,
in a
so
violent
many.
manner.
So many laws
that can
will
never be
broken.
I also there's
shown.
always one mid-major team I just love. I just watched their one game of the year in the
did that
final,
too.
and
I
I
did
was
that
like,
too.
I really liked watching them. Their defense, they're one of the top, I think, blocking in the league right now.
Interesting.
And
I've got one of
the
those.
Spartans,
too. I do
they're-
the same thing. Yeah.
they're not very good, I think, on the interior as much. So I think, yeah, they got more.
What?
It's more guard play, bro.
To me, Michigan
It's
State.
more guard play.
They got
Michigan
two
State.
bigs that are just
No,
eating it up.
they're-
Kohler?
no,
Michigan
overrated.
State is the closest.
Overrated.
Is it because they're
SEC
white?
Yes. Yes.
This guy, holy cow!
I think they're overrated.
I
Got
love
a
Michigan
couple
State.
7-foot
I
whiteys.
love
They-
This is coming from a Big Ten guy. I think the Big Ten's
And you
overrated.
had
That's me.
Michigan winning
Wow.
both
Yeah,
of their
this
bigs
is
are white.
Just
they,
team in your
they
league?
haven't won a championship since 2000, and it was the Michigan State Spartans. I'll
Yep.
say that.
Dog,
But
I am
I think
deceased.
the Big Ten is overrated. And
I am deceased. Oh
Well,
my
they don't have to
goodness.
win, but they make the final. Izzo makes the Final Four.
Anyways,
Or the
No,
Elite Eight.
no,
Am I
he's
the only
losing.
one that has New Mexico? You got New Mexico?
New Mexico's beating.
No, I have Marquette.
You
Michigan
got
State.
Marquette. All right.
Basically, a
I'm
toss-up.
hedging my bet, bro. It's either they lose the first round or they
This
lose the
guy-
second round.
This guy
Sorry.
is insane.
You have
I
New
also
Mexico
haven't
in
watched-
2 games.
I also haven't watched
You're gonna have
a
to say
single
something
Michigan State game.
intelligent
So
next. You're gonna have to
I
say
don't know
something-
anything.
You're gonna have to say something intelligent.
We're
next,
revoking your
otherwise-
invite for
I
next
was gonna
pod.
say, you're not gonna come on
I
next
started off
time.
really
But
well.
that's
Now
the
it's getting
thing,
late.
That's the thing
Finals,
about
you're done.
That's the thing about
Done.
March.
I'm getting
is
cooked in the
Jared's
comments
like,
right now.
He could be 100% right. Like
That's-
we
that's
could be
facts.
sitting here in 3 days, and Jared's just like, yeah. I
It's
was
just
right.
like the
They're gonna
one
be bowing
upset
down
that
to
like
me.
no one has coming, and like Jared's gonna get it.
I'm gonna be the only bracket remaining.
It's
That's
gonna be
perfect,
such a
so.
value pick that he's gonna win like all of his bracket.
No,
challenges.
this is not gonna end well for me.
But we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to a close game. UConn, Oklahoma. This is a toss up. I got UConn because I'm not betting against Hurley. Picking the coach in this one.
Agreed.
Who you got?
Yeah, I got UConn, but it's
All right,
it's a
cool.
toss up to me.
Yeah, it
Oklahoma.
really is.
Yeah.
You got Oklahoma.
I got Oklahoma. Yeah.
Fears, right? Is that their point guard?
Fears, yeah.
Tearing
He's
it up.
he's a baller, dude. I can see him kind of taking this game over. And UConn, obviously they still have the coach and everything, but I think this is a down year compared to their last 2 years. So
Yeah,
I
definitely.
can see Oklahoma pulling an upset in
What-
this one.
When
I
did
mean, they're losing to Florida.
when
the
did
next game,
UConn?
anyways.
Who
Right.
did they lose to in the Big East tournament?
Creighton.
What
Yeah, it was
Great.
Creighton.
was it
yeah.
like in the championship?
No, it was
Semis.
So they made a decent run.
Sam, you've convinced me. I'm switching my pick.
All right, we got to switch.
go,
right here.
live.
on the pod, even though you guys will
Little
hear this
switch.
tomorrow in the morning.
Man,
but-
you didn't switch that
No,
Bryant
like
pick,
I
guys?
said,
Come
I
on.
just came into the country 4 hours ago. I'm filling out my bracket
He
as
makes
we're
it
talking.
sound like he was gone for like months. Like, dude,
That's
He hasn't seen
that is
deprivation.
literally what it felt
Oh
like.
my gosh, this guy.
Even their
You're
Pepsi,
poor one.
tastes like honey. Oh my gosh! One quick
Yeah, 'cause
story.
it's probably
We
healthier
get there
than
for
what we put in
breakfast,
our
right?
bodies.
And I was so excited for breakfast because I was starving because we got there late. They had pancakes there and eggs, all this stuff. So I get pancakes, and then they had like a jar of like Aunt Jemima syrup. So I like grab this jar, put the syrup on. I'm so excited, and people that know me know I like love maple syrup, like real maple syrup. It was honey syrup. There was not a hint of maple flavor in it, and I like. Did you
disgusting.
guys even know that's a thing? Did
Like,
you know?
no.
You're from another. I didn't know. Like there
They
was
don't have
no
maple trees over there,
maple
bro.
flavor. What? So it was honey. It was the grossest thing.
Sorry.
Anyways,
Isn't
Um,
Alexis from the DR?
I actually don't know.
he's from Miami, bro.
Yeah, I don't remember his original.
not the
hometown.
DR,
Yeah,
Dipstick. What the
it's somewhere down there,
That's
bro.
what- no, I know.
What's that have
I'm
to
saying
do
he's from Miami.
I mean, technically,
You're from New York, so
somewhere
I'm
else
gonna say
before.
you're
are you,
Canada?
right? He wasn't born in Miami.
You from Canada? I don't know. He's from New York.
Don't get me
either
started.
I'm
that
like
or,
99% positive he's from
You're probably
DR.
right.
They
I'm the
have
worst.
maple
fan.
syrup, though,
I don't
so-
know.
They do have syrup.
We're having like
Gotta
two
be.
conversations.
Don't get me
Anyway.
started on Canadians.
All right, let's roll it back in.
Sorry
Peter
about that.
Peter just switched to UConn. Everyone else, you got UConn?
Does
Yeah,
anyone
UConn.
have Norfolk State?
Yes.
Actually,
No. Jared would. Jared
Okay.
would. All right, we're gonna keep it moving. This one's a little bit of a spicy one, just because
Yeah.
people are riding a hot team. Drake versus Missouri. Who we got? I got Drake. No, I don't. I have Missouri. I just filled this out.
I mean, that's fair.
You just came in. You can't talk. These guys though. And you're the one that was like, dude, I've done no.
I haven't.
I'm actually gonna switch to
Dude,
Drake, though.
all
I
my
know this
analysis
stuff.
right now is based on the
Switching now.
games that I have
Drake.
watched. I've done
I-
like no research this week.
But who do you got?
Yeah.
Like truthfully, who you got?
Missouri.
Missouri.
Yep.
All right.
I got
SEC.
Drake. I don't know. I briefly looked at it. They
You
always
skipped
do
over
well.
one of my upsets though.
That's it. Yeah, I don't know.
What was one of your
I
upsets?
got GCU, bro.
You got GCU over Maryland?
I
There's
know.
no way. Against the Crab
Unpopular.
Five? That's wild.
I know they got Derek Queen, right?
huge.
He's on, Maryland.
And
but
yeah, guys, as we're going through
one of
this,
those
if there's one that
13s,
you want to
bro.
talk about, just jump
Memphis,
through it.
Colorado
We're-
State. I think that one's
Yeah.
interesting because
got
Colorado
Colorado.
State's favored in that game.
That
so-
was the next
So
one.
I actually went with
had.
Colorado State. Just
You went with
'cause-
Colorado State.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I got
just
Memphis.
because they don't have Tyrese Hunter and
Yeah.
I don't know, they looked a little shaky in the championship game. They still won, but
Yeah,
Um,
and this is where I do take I look at the conferences because they both play in smaller conferences, and so yeah, because Memphis they had a good non-con and they are a good team, but
Yeah.
like Colorado State's like in a similar size conference that like they're the hotter team, so you're just gonna pick the hotter team.
And it's always that 12-5 matchup I'm always looking at. That actually turns out to be a lot more 50-50 than a lot of people think. So
Yeah, I got C-State as well. You got C-State, Pete? Or
I
you got-
do. Yep, I have C-State. That's my
But
12 one of
PJ
my 12
Haggerty
five.
scares me, dude. He could drop
yeah,
like 40
that's true.
points.
That's the one thing.
they could
Him
just
and
blow
the
him out of the
Dane
gym.
Danger kid. He's
Yeah,
really
Danger's
good.
good. Yeah,
My
but like you
sister
said-
actually went to school with him, which is fun
Really?
fact,
Where,
yeah.
Where'd they go to school?
At our small Christian school back in Minnesota. Yeah.
Dang,
So
okay.
he was a bully back then, but he
Hey, represent.
hey he's representing.
Hey,
So
there we go. There we go. You had Memphis, Sam
Yep.
boy. All right, cool.
dude, me and Sam are just the exact opposites in all these picks. These are great.
All right, another
Definitely
close
getting
one.
cooked, bro.
Just because of the coaches and kind of the cachet that comes along with it. Kansas, Arkansas. Who we got?
Arkansas, baby.
Arkansas.
Kansas.
Dude, I didn't
Kansas.
realize that.
I think-
Kansas, dude, that's gonna be a meme through the whole entire day of that game. Like Arkansas and Kansas.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that, but who you got?
I got Arkansas.
I just got that
I
too.
just
Bro, you guys are slow.
It's
as
so late,
beans,
bro. I'm toast, bro.
I just am like
These are Sammy Boy's hours. He's a night owl.
I don't know if
bro.
it's
I-
you
yeah,
guys.
you're
I'm
not
a night
wrong.
owl too, man. This is.
I'm usually. But
Anyway, sorry, I just got distracted.
that's all right.
Kansas or Arkansas?
I got Arkansas. Why are you saying Arkansas?
Do you not know the video?
Yeah,
He still
I know-
doesn't get it.
I know the video, but like you're still. I get the video.
This is
Trust me.
podcasting. We have to play into the funny moments.
Yeah,
Arkan-
okay.
You guys aren't
Arkansas.
convincing us
All right.
that you know the joke.
Yeah, it's the woman who's like pointing on the screen. Yeah, I know what the meme
There's
is.
a lot of
the
memes.
joke.
Anyways,
Here's
continue.
what I was gonna say is, does anybody actually like? Is anybody enjoying watching Kansas play basketball? Does anybody
No,
like them?
Absolutely no.
Like you
I
picked
hate
them.
them.
Dude, they
I hate them.
sucked.
But I don't know. It just I feel
Hunter
like they got the
Dickinson
He
sucks.
is so annoying.
But this
I
is
hate
where
him.
I
I
don't.
hate him with a
this is
passion,
where I don't.
but-
This is where I don't shade SEC. I shade Big 12 because Kansas has beaten. They played Houston close. BYU.
Bro, they've
close.
lost so many winnable games in their league.
I know, but they've played them close. Where Arkansas has
Yeah.
been blown out of the gym in their conference.
But Cal kind of sucks in the tournament recently unless he has
And they
like
lost to
Exactly.
unless he
South
has like Carl Anthony
Exactly.
Towns
And they
and like a
lost to
bunch of
South
other
Carolina,
and
who's
he
the
definitely
worst
doesn't have
team
that
in
this
the
year.
SEC.
So. Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
I mean, I'm
Bill
going.
Self.
I'm going Kansas. Bill Self. Calipari is not quite doing what we all thought. I don't think he's the better
I like
coach.
Bill Self a lot. I
I
will say
think Bill
that.
Self's the better coach. So this is where I'm picking the better coach.
I'm picking the better team.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Arkansas.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
picking the
I just-
experience.
I just hate Kansas. I just can't cheer for them.
And Hunter
I,
Dickinson.
I,
think
it's,
they-
it hurts.
I hate
I hate them.
Dickinson, bro.
I hate them. But they won like a couple years
Where's his
ago.
game?
and
Bro,
some of those guys are on
Dickinson's
the
is like
same
his
team.
8th year in school too.
So, I
like
mean-
just
Providence,
go
Rhode Island.
So is
be
Dallas.
an insurance agent somewhere, bro. Come on.
Providence, Rhode Island. So they're
Also,
both
this is a
traveling.
great game you guys are
Yeah,
missing. It's
I was-
1 point.
that's-
Dang.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have to take an intermission here to watch the end of
It's
the game?
1 minute left. And
Nah, we'll just
Nah, we out
1
here.
point game.
we'll ride it.
We out here. 1 point game going on right now. 1 minute left. What the frick? Dude, we should pause and watch this game. All right, we're going to take a brief
Sure.
intermission real quick, and then we'll hop right back in. We got to watch this game. All right, hopping right back into it. We just watched Texas absolutely blow it there at the end. Xavier moving on. They'll face Illinois. We'll get to that game in a little bit.
Classic SEC.
Classic SEC, dude.
begins.
Big East. Big East. But we're going to talk a little ACC. And this one will kind of, we'll stay here a little bit because we'll talk about the controversy. But we're going to talk UNC Ole Miss. Obviously, UNC, they beat San Diego State last night. Is that who it was? Obviously, moving on by like 27 points.
Yeah.
They definitely needed to do that because, again, the controversy is a lot of people were saying they shouldn't be in the field. Let's go around the room. Should UNC have gotten in?
And I got UNC in the Final Four.
But should have they gotten in?
No, I'm just kidding. I don't.
Imagine.
I mean, I guess not. I'm not super into the whole like who's in because Syracuse has gotten in so many times when they shouldn't have, and I'm just like,
Final Four.
cool,
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah,
So
true.
I mean, I guess
That's a
people are
good
saying
point.
West Virginia should have got in over UNC because
Yeah.
I was kind of out of it for all of that.
That was the biggest
Conversation.
biggest snub.
So
Yeah.
tough, I guess. Win more basketball games if you want to make the tournament. Like,
Yeah.
if
I
you're West
mean,
Virginia.
we're picking hairs at this point.
Yeah.
Like this is a 68 field. Like if we're
Might
gonna
expand.
complain, if we're gonna complain over the last team getting in, essentially, just win more games. But at the same time, like I do
But
kind
if it was West Virginia and like freaking Robert Morris, they're gonna put West Virginia in there.
yeah, no, for sure. But I think
the name.
It's
this
the name. That's what I'm saying.
this
NAD.
year, and we'll
Yeah.
see. But this, I mean, I was talking with Stallone before this about the wins above bubble. Is that the metric that they're
WAB right now?
The WAB that they
Yeah.
added this year. I mean, there's just
metrics.
you could pick it, cherry pick any metric you want, and they just found a way. Whether it was because of the head of the committee is from UNC or whatever, but
I think the metrics are so funny. Like, the reason people love March Madness is because of like the craziness and how anything can happen to anybody. But then they rely on these like super advanced metrics and all this
Right.
stuff to
Yeah,
pick who's
dude.
in there. I'm like, probably not the best. But
That
whatever.
was whole thing was really funny too, because I did see that with the because I watched the selection show and then I watched like that little interview he did at the end, because they like that was like the first question the guy asked him or whatever was about like UNC, and he was basically like, oh, we followed all protocols and like I left the room, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
bull crap, dude.
but no, I was thinking about it, like
All the
imagine,
conversations that you're having behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Right, well, like imagine
Like
they're
you ain't
like,
talking
gets
to your other
$100,000
board
bonus
members,
for them
bro.
making it.
well, they're all sitting there and they're like, all right, we're talking about UNC, and they like wink at him, and he's like, oh, yep, gotta get out. And then, but then like after they have their conversation, he comes back in the room, and then he's like, all right, what'd you guys like? You know what I'm saying? Like he's still
right.
It's
Apparently,
still,
this
like,
is his
awesome.
has
last
an
year on the
impact,
board
but
too, so he had to
I
do
don't know.
solid on
He
his
had to
way
get
out.
he had to get money in his pocket. Yeah. My big thing is like, so you can say what you want about the analytics that they use, but they use a certain type of analytics like for every team to say like you get in and whatnot. But what they did is like they put everybody in, and then they used a totally different analytic to justify putting UNC in.
Yeah.
But the analytic that they used for everybody else suggested that West Virginia should be in. And that's where I have a problem. Like, you know, yeah, we're splitting hairs, this, that, and the other. But, like, the fact that how you do the entire rest of the tournament said West Virginia gets in over UNC.
Yep.
And then you just put UNC in. Like, that in itself is just, I mean, the word I want to use is just plain wrong. Like, I don't know. I don't think there's much with the AD. I think it's just like kind of an unfortunate circumstance where it's like, because I was listening to, I think it was like Pat McAfee today, and they're like, who do we put up there? Like, we can't do X players because they have affiliations with, you know, you can't do X coaches because they have affiliations with universities. Like, you can't do media because media has biases
That'd
as
be
well.
disaster.
They want. Yeah,
So
all
like,
the stars,
really,
yeah.
like who
That would
do
be
we
the
have running it?
NBA, like the chaos that's going on over there. In
We'll just have
college
Peter
would be
run it.
even worse.
You want to be the commissioner?
Why
of
can't?
the
Yeah. Why don't we
NCAA?
run it, bro?
Houston every year.
Dude, facts.
Except this year.
We're waiting for our AP vote. You know, it's coming, loading. But yeah, I think that was just
I
total
think-
drop of the ball by the.
I think it was probably, like you said, probably wrong that UNC got in over West Virginia. But if there's any evidence that they're going to take all that, doubt of them getting into the tournament, I mean, they showed it last night by beating San Diego State, who allegedly had one of the best defenses in the entire country, even though they play in not as great of a league. Beating them by 40 points, being up by like 50 at one
Right.
point. Like, they might go on a little bit of a run here and use that
Well, here's
as,
the-
as fuel. But
Well, here's the thing. And a lot of people have said
they
this,
still
so-
have good players,
Right.
even though like they didn't have a great season.
Right, and I
RJ
mean they come
Davis
from a
and all
power.
them
They
boys
come
are
from a
still
power
there.
conference, so like obviously they're gonna have better. Like we were talking about NIL, UNC. They're gonna have decent players. RJ Davis he won ACC Player of the Year last year.
Exactly.
Yeah. My big thing is like now that they're in, I think they could make a run. I don't think they deserve to be in, but I agree with everybody saying like they are like a tournament level team.
Yeah.
Like I mean they showed that last night.
I think they're just hurting from losing Baycott last year.
Oh yeah, they don't have. They
Where
don't
is
have
he
good
at? Is he in the
size.
G League or something?
I actually have no
I think
idea.
he's like in Japan or something like
Oh,
that, like
really?
playing overseas.
I thought he was gonna go at least G League. I thought he was good. But
Maybe actually I think he was Memphis G League. I don't
He
know.
was just a big rebounder though. He didn't really have any like.
Well, that's why he
I
didn't get to the
guess,
NBA, which we all thought about Zach Edey, but now Zach Edey's
G
on,
League
like,
and the Memphis Hustle. That's
oh,
where he's
okay,
at,
he is in Memphis. I thought I heard that. The podcast I listened to, the guy works in Memphis, and he said he's there. That's why I know. But anyways, talking UNC winning a game. Obviously, they won the play-in game, and they will face Ole Miss. Who we got in this one, boys?
I got UNC winning 2 games.
Yeah.
I
Same,
don't-
brother.
Yeah, I
too.
mean this
Let's
happens
go.
every year. It's like the most common known thing, but I think the 11s and the 6s, it's like a 50-50 toss up in the last like 10 years or something like that. So, a team like Xavier who wins a game, they get a momentum. They're probably not going to make it. I mean, sometimes they do, like UCLA that one year they made the Final Four, but I mean they're probably gonna. They've got the momentum. They're gonna probably. I think UNC is an interesting team because I think they are a good team because everybody talks about their quad 1 wins. I just think that they're like right below quad 1. I think that
like
they
that
are
first team
yeah.
below.
Like
yeah.
I think they're a really good basketball team. They just don't have quite enough guys to like beat a Duke or to beat an Auburn, but they don't have to. They have to beat Ole Miss. So I actually think that they might win a couple of games in the.
they still had a solid comeback against Duke
Yeah.
in the conference tournament.
Yep.
And you always see some
Interesting.
teams in this first 4 where they kind of get off to a hard start and they just carry
Right.
that momentum. And it could be UNC this year. So,
Yeah.
Definitely.
I agree. And for those of you that listen on a consistent basis, Iowa State I think they're gonna lose in the second round to them as well. So
Yeah.
I'm not a believer in Iowa State at all.
Yeah,
so.
I actually have Ole Miss winning against UNC. Again, this is just me. I had no idea because I'm just shading SEC, but I have Ole Miss beating Iowa State too. No faith. They also Gilbert. He's out the rest of the season.
Okay.
It's one of their main. I forget his first name, but one of their main scorers is out for the rest of the season. He's not going to play in the tournament.
Keyshawn Gilbert.
Pete, do you have UNC losing to Michigan State?
I do.
Okay, same.
Okay, good.
Yep.
I was going to say
Interesting. I have
if
them
you
too.
have them going,
Unless I'm Jared and then I've got him losing
UNC
to New
beating
Mexico.
Bryant, bro. That's what I got
at
right
this
in front
point,
of
you
me.
got UNC going to the
I
freaking
run
Final
with it,
Four,
bro.
Bro, Jared's got Montana and Lipscomb in this championship.
Dude,
Y'all don't even
how do you
know.
Oh my word.
Anyways.
This is wild. But yeah, that's gonna finish up the left side of the kind of the first
We're
round.
halfway done, boys.
Kind of halfway
fine.
done. We're not
Let's
even
go.
like running through the entire bracket. That would
I'm just
take
like
forever.
doing research on these teams
But
that I
we're
might
gonna-
pick for these upsets.
We're gonna hit the right side the first round, and then we'll talk our final four, talk our championship, and then we'll get out of here. All right. On the right side again, like there's a lot of games that are just kind of chalky. Obviously, Duke's gonna beat who won, American or Mount St. Mary's? Mount St. Mary's. Obviously, Duke's gonna win that. They probably won't even roll out Cooper Flag. We'll see. First game we're gonna highlight Oregon Liberty. Jared wanted to talk this one. Tell me why.
Yeah, I really like Liberty. They have from what I saw in the championship game, they just absolutely trounced. I actually don't remember the team that they faced, but they played really well. I really liked. They always play really good team ball. Every time I watch them, I think they have a pretty good 3-point shooting team from what I remember. And again, it's another 5-12 matchup, and I like that 12 seed. So
First time on the pod, I'm gonna agree with Jared.
Dang.
Wholeheartedly
go.
agree.
Okay, all
And
right.
yes, Sam was gonna pick
mending.
Liberty.
We're mending here. Met therapy. This is good. This is
No,
good.
I literally almost everything that he just said, I agree with as well. I watched their semis and their championship game, and they moved the ball incredibly well. Like obviously, it's against inferior competition than what they're going to face in the tournament, but it seemed like every time they were moving the ball, there was just boom, open guy under the basket. They have I forget his name, but at least one just sniper, dude, 3-point. Just absolute sniper, like I said. So I could see that. I actually have them winning 2 games. I have them upsetting
Dang.
Arizona in the next one as well.
Really?
So
interesting.
I'm pretty high on Liberty if they could get it going. I could see them as a 12 seed, being a little bit of a Cinderella here.
I
so.
would love to see that. I've always rooted for Liberty.
Yeah, I mean-
represent the cause, Christianity. Let's go. But no, I wanted to go to Liberty.
Sam and I almost
coming out of high
transferred there.
school. Dude,
We did our
that'd been
senior
wild.
year.
Dude, you guys should have. That would have been so cool.
We were gonna get an apartment and just finish our classes online. I was
Dude,
like,
I wanted
yeah,
to go to
do
Liberty
it.
like growing up, coming out of high school so badly. But who you got in this, Pete?
I got Oregon.
Same.
I like Big Ten
This side of the
here.
table.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Reality hits,
you got to pick your upsets in certain
Yeah.
spots, and I just didn't pick this one. And I'm not saying that these are could go either way, but I just like Oregon in this matchup.
Yeah, I like Oregon too. And again, I always do this. This is probably why I do horribly, but I always shade the better conference just because like you're playing better competition. But I'm looking at some of the numbers. I mean, Oregon's ranked 48th in adjusted offense, and Liberty's 65th. But Liberty's 48th in adjusted defense. So I mean, they're a little more equal than one would think. Obviously, 5 seed against a 12 seed would be of huge value. This is probably why Jared does better because he finds just these random 12-5 upsets and gets huge value for them. But this side of the table has Oregon, that side of the table has Liberty. All right, this one's a little bit of a spicy one. BYU, VCU, who we got? Jared.
Again,
This is toss-up,
this
isn't
is
it?
toss-up for me.
Tight one.
I don't know if it's just because I'm looking at Peter's jersey right in front of me, but
LOL.
for this bracket I have BYU, but
Hey.
I wouldn't. Again, it's a flip of the coin for me. VCU has a great defense. BYU has
Great
great
defense.
offense. So it's like, what's
Yeah.
gonna triumph in this? And I think BYU could do it. I think VCU could do it. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's my in-depth.
A lot of people have
analysis.
VCU. Who you got?
Kind of in the same
Sam?
boat, a little bit of a toss-up for me. I have BYU as well.
BYU. All right, Petey.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about VCU. I watched a lot of BYU last year because our friend Noah played there. I didn't watch a lot of their games this year at all, but I watched a few
They had
of
some
them.
really strong wins.
Yeah, it seemed like
Upset
they
couple
shot the ball
times,
pretty
yeah.
well, and some of the guys that I watched last year that were kind of like not big parts of the team kind of have stepped up a lot. So I don't know. I think maybe their new coach there, they've just got something going there. So I've got them winning a game here, but that's pretty much.
Who's
my
the number
analysis
30
there.
guy? Like, what's his name?
Number 30, Downhall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I
he's a
hated
baller.
that guy last year.
Yeah, he comes off the bench though.
Dude,
He was good in the one game I watched him this
Dude,
year.
Last
but-
year he was young, but last year I would watch games and that guy would like blow games because
Yeah,
he would
he's
just try to play.
frustrating.
And then I would go on Twitter and I would just scroll. Everybody's just like throwing shade at this kid. I'm like, this poor kid's like 19 years old and his little
Maybe
room
I only
in-
watched one or two.
room
of his
in
games
Utah
this
just
year, but-
scrolling YouTube and all
He's
these
doing-
like
he's doing
25-year-old
better
men
this
are
year.
like, this guy sucks. Like, get him off the team. He's trying to
Yeah.
play hero
He's a
ball.
freshman. He's a
I felt
freshman.
bad for
I
him.
think
but
his new role coming off the bench is like the second point guard is really helping him because he's like, dude, like when I get in there, I think it helps him realize like I can't mess up because I mean they have a lottery pick that's playing point guard for them, and then like out of nowhere, Richie Saunders is just playing out of his mind.
yeah, that's the kid that
Is
I
that the
was
white kid
remembering.
with the headband?
yeah, dude, playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
I think he was like
He's averaging
an
like 22 points a game or something.
yeah, he was like
right?
I think he was like an honorable mention All American or something like that. Like, dude, nuts. But I have BYU winning too. A little biased because I
Not averaging 22, by the way. I just looked it up.
what is he
Maybe in the
averaging?
last 5 games.
like
Yeah, last 5
like
What-
18.
That's not that far.
I know.
But BYU is definitely playing like super well. Since mid-February, they're ranked 4th in adjusted offense, so their offense is doing like super well. I got BYU moving on as well.
Wait, how far do you have BYU going?
I have BYU going to
Final Four?
No, Elite 8, losing to Duke. Why? How far you got
I was
them
curious.
going?
I'm thinking about. I like Wisconsin a lot. I think
Yeah,
they're a
I've
really
been
good
losing
team.
to them.
But I just
Yeah.
I was just curious because I know you like BYU. I was curious
Yeah,
about
really
that.
quickly, let's talk about Wisconsin because like a lot of people are high on them. I think they've had like a sneaky season because like
Definitely.
they're ranked really high in a lot of the metrics. How do we feel about Wisconsin? Obviously, you have
Wisconsin is one of
Elite
those teams like Michigan State that win they win big games in
Ten,
the
man,
tournament.
Big Ten.
Like
They always run. yeah,
they're the
on
ones. I
table.
forgot they were the 8 seed a couple years ago that they beat that 1 seed. I gotta look that up real quick.
15.
with
um,
Bronson,
16.
Koenig, or whatever
How
his
far
name
you
was.
got them?
No, it wasn't
Jared?
that far back. It was like
just
maybe
2 rounds,
2021.
2
losing
rounds.
to Alabama. But I mean,
Okay.
I really like. I can't remember the kid's name. The really stout scorer. He's been making some waves this year. So John Tanjay, whatever his name is.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he's been a bucket. So definitely.
I have them going Elite 8. I like
Elite
them a
eight.
Yep,
lot.
same.
Wow.
I got Wisconsin.
I watched the Big Ten championship game when they were going up against Michigan. I think that it was theirs to win, and they kind of fumbled it away there, but not crazy or anything like huge collapse. That Michigan's obviously a good team, but I could see them going far, like you guys were saying. Kind of a sneaky tournament team all the time, and I think that maybe that loss to Michigan will help them kind of kick on and go far in the tournament again.
Yeah, it is interesting. I feel like the conference tournament, like I go both ways. Like I feel like sometimes a win can really help propel a team to go forward, but I think
Exactly.
sometimes a loss can be the same.
Mhm.
I didn't see that game obviously, but yeah, I think just
They
making
were
it
ahead
that
most
far.
of the game.
Who did they beat in the semis to get to the championship?
Wisconsin. They beat
Yeah.
Michigan State. I think.
Yeah,
Right.
they did.
So that's what I'm saying. Like you're playing,
Yeah.
and I'm guessing my guess would be if they played Michigan
game.
State. What was it? A high scoring game?
They
Um,
won
It's kind of
by
a dogfight.
3,
Yeah.
77,
Yeah.
74.
Yeah.
So
My
was
guess
close.
is they were
Decently high.
probably pretty tired the next day. Would be my guess too.
Yeah.
From playing a team like
Exactly.
Michigan State.
And they barely lost to Michigan.
Yeah.
So.
So I don't know. I like Wisconsin. They always play well in the tournament. They're kind of like them and Michigan State are those two teams. So
You would like
yeah.
this comparison, but I told Stallone last week that Wisconsin kind of reminds me of Syracuse. Like they're not like one of your blue bloods, like even though Syracuse I guess you could say is one of the storied whatever, but like always are doing really well in the tournament when you're not really expecting them to be going pretty far and everything.
Right.
So I just thought that was an interesting comparison,
I
but not
find-
there like every single year like a Duke or UNC. But
Yeah, I find it super interesting. A lot of people in their Elite 8, they either have out of the BYU or VCU game, whoever wins that, they either have one of them going to the Elite 8 or Wisconsin. Alabama's right there, but a lot of people don't have them going to the Elite 8. How do you
Not a
guys feel
believer.
about Alabama?
SEC. That's
Dude,
why.
do you just have like a bias against them or something?
I don't have a bias against them. I just
No,
I thought Alabama.
I'm
what do
so
you guys
sick
think
of
about them
watching
at
them.
2?
Yeah,
They didn't have a strong like second half of the season,
Yeah.
especially down the stretch.
yeah, but again, they take the whole
I know.
season in
The-
totality.
The only reason why
so-
I'm hedging and actually picking Alabama to go far is because my wife is an Alabama fan, and so
Hey,
I feel like
there
she
you go.
does really well with these brackets every year. Is when
It's
she
true.
just picks the team.
Shout
she
out
likes.
Mo.
So I've just picked them because I'm like she's gonna pick them too, and so
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I heard this. Isn't there one guy Nelson? Isn't he hurt?
Grant
Is he
Nelson.
playing?
Yeah.
Is he playing?
that I don't know.
Received some good news. I'm just reading an
I
article.
think he's
that
a
I pulled
game
up real
time
quick.
decision for Robert
Oh,
Morris.
that's a good.
but-
That's a good.
But
sign.
they don't really like.
Maybe.
He'll
I
probably
don't
be
know.
on the bench, like in a warm up. But they probably
Probably
won't
They
Like
play.
Claire
they
flag.
really struggled without him though.
Yeah.
when
He's
he's
not
not
gonna
went
be
out of the
100%.
game, they
him and Cooper
Yeah.
Flag are gonna be like break
They
glass
still
in
have
case
Sears,
of an
though.
emergency. Like they're gonna be on the bench. You know, like you can play them if you need them, but
Yeah.
they probably won't need them for sure. I actually have Bama against BYU in the Sweet 16, and that one's a bit of a toss up. But I think BYU has a little better, like their bigs are better, and
more
their
white.
defense is a little better. Huh?
They're more white.
So you have
No,
that, you have
they're
BYU in the
two
Elite
black-
Eight.
Two black guys.
You have
Yeah,
BYU.
I have BYU in the Elite Eight.
Wow.
I'm high on BYU. They're catching fire at the right time.
Interesting.
All right, we're gonna move on. Jared wanted to talk about this one. Had a little bit to say, or was it you? It was one of you guys. St. Mary's.
Are we gonna talk about the
No,
fact
I
that
think it
BYU always gets a dumb seed because they don't play on Sundays? You guys know about that?
no.
They always get
No, no, no.
underseeded because they can't play on Sundays. So like I think the this happened last year too, but they always because they could probably be a 5 or a 4 or something like that, but they can't play on Sunday, so they have to play on Thursday, Saturday. So I think that they always kind of get
It's the
jaded with
Lord's
the seed a
Day.
little
What we
bit.
do to be,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
in the
right.
word.
They're gonna be
Anyways.
They're gonna be really good next year because they got the number 1 prospect,
Oh,
who's
yeah.
probably
Oh,
gonna
that's
be
right,
the
you
number
were
1
talking
pick
about
in 2026,
Yep.
the NBA draft.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, they had to splash
don't
some
know how
cash
they-
for him, but
yeah,
those
exactly.
Mormons got
finally
that,
not
got
some
that money.
French first round pick or first pick.
I
or
just think
whatever.
it's wild. Like you can have 7 wives, but you can't play basketball on Sunday. Like
Have
have
you
some
guys seen-
consistency.
I saw in football this has happened a few times now, but like football, like the game will go till like 11:58 or something, and like people are sweating it because they would have to call the game because they can't play past midnight.
Just
That'd be
play the
wild.
game at
you
7
guys seen
p.m.
that?
I have not.
No, I didn't. I
That's
didn't know it was that
yeah.
serious, but
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh,
And they
yeah.
can't drink hot caffeine liquids, so you know.
But you can have 7 wives.
Hey, they have dirty sodas, and I'm in on the dirty sodas, man. Those things are good.
Wait, so they do that too?
Yeah, they
so
can't have
confused.
coffee, bro.
Do they
You
have,
would-
Either
you-
be
Okay.
all in like the Amish or all out.
I'm
Like,
gonna
Driving the
expose
fence.
myself a little here. Do they have like are
You've
Mormon?
done that multiple
Oh wait,
times.
no,
for
no,
the
no,
pod.
no, no, no. I know this. They have a Book of Mormon. That's right. I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
like, don't they have like their own thing? They have their own Book of Mormon. So I was like,
Quran.
We're gonna get canceled for like hate speech if you just shut up right now.
anyways.
All right,
Yay, BYU.
Let's not talk about soaking.
St.
either.
Mary's Vandy. All right, who we got?
St. Mary's Vandy.
See, I don't know this one too much.
Okay,
I
was
just
it
know
you that
St.
wanted to talk
Mary's.
about
50-50 got
that's what I
Vandy.
I got St. Mary's. The reason I want to talk about it is because I think it'd just be a really interesting matchup. I did hear this is one of the only things I did hear. So SMU, I think, is one of these. They're like
St. Mary's, he
359.
means.
Yeah, what did I say?
You said
SMU.
SMU, but I'm just
Oh,
making sure
sorry.
people know that you're not dumb.
They have
Another tournament snub.
ACC represent. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
Peter loves ACC. He's just his whole bracket's just the whole
SMU?
ACC tournament.
That's right. I just throw them in
Syracuse winning it all, Final Four. Anyways, go
there.
ahead.
I was gonna say they are like they rank like over 300 in some in like pace, and Alabama's like number 1. So like if they play in that second round matchup, that would be a really fun love. Like Alabama's gonna try to go really really fast, and then St. Mary's gonna like slow.
Just
everything
impose
way
their
down.
will on them.
Yeah.
They ain't quite Houston, but I see where you're going
Yeah.
here.
So I don't know. I like St. Mary's in that first matchup. I think Vandy got a really that was another ridiculous. The SEC just glazing. They're 20-12, and they got a 10. Like I just didn't understand.
But again, they use the quad system, and like in the SEC, they had so many opportunities for quad wins. Like I think Vandy beat. I don't think they beat Auburn. Who did they beat? They Alabama. I think they beat Tennessee.
I just couldn't believe they weren't 11.
Vandy
like I
beat
couldn't
Florida,
I couldn't
they
believe they
beat
were there as a
Florida.
10
Is there a
seed. I
solid
just couldn't believe
criteria for quad 1?
Yeah, I think it's so the net, and it's like top 50 or 60 or something like that, and then they determine home, away, or neutral, and that determines your quad. Like
So like I
It just
said
means
last
how
week,
hard that
can a
game
team
was.
change from a quad 1 to a quad 2 win?
yes, because if you fall out of like I don't know the actual number, but say it's the top 50 in the net. If you fall out of the top 50 in the net, then you're considered. Then you go like quad 2, and all it's doing is just telling you that this game was considered like a very hard game to win. So like I think you could be technically like 60th in the net, but you played them at their arena,
their away
and then it jumps you to a quad 1 because an away game's harder than a home game. I don't know the whole ins and outs. I was watching some videos on it just yesterday, but yeah, that's just why the SEC has like 14 teams in the field, because like literally every game you were playing in in your conference schedule was a quad 1 opportunity. So he's rolling his eyes. ACC
or
die.
I don't know about you guys. Every Saturday morning, I would get so annoyed because I would like pull up my ESPN app and be like, okay, well, like good college basketball games are, and you go to the thing and it always just shows you like the top 25 games, and every week's like top 10 matchup, gotta watch, and it was always like Auburn, Alabama,
Yep.
Auburn,
Tennessee, Florida.
Tennessee, Florida. It was like every SEC game was like, oh my word, I just want to watch like.
Dude, the
But that's also 'cause
ESPN games this
ESPN
year were literally an SEC team or Kansas. It was
Yeah.
nothing else.
Yeah.
It was like
Nothing else.
I'd rather watch
12.
Pitt and Virginia Tech than I would rather watch
Dude,
some of these
ACC
games.
Network
honestly.
is ACC Network
Like,
where it's at,
jeez.
man, dude.
Watch some
watched
actual
Louisville all
3-point
year
shots
long.
being made and some flow of basketball.
So you got St. Mary's, you got
St. Mary's,
St.
yeah.
Mary's,
Vandy.
you
for
got
no
Vandy.
reason.
I got Vandy too. This is another toss-up for me. I haven't watched any of the teams, and I'm just shading SEC because they played. Dude, there has to be something to like you play good competition night in, night out. There has to be something to that. Like you're more battle tested. You're ready to play good teams opposed to like half of your conference schedule was like mopping like Duke. I mean, I have Duke making the Final Four, but they're losing to Houston. But anyways, that's because they have a good path. All right, moving on. This is a bit of a toss-up again. Gonzaga, Georgia. Who we got?
I got Gonzaga in this. I don't know. Again, this is another one I don't know too much about Georgia, but I know Gonzaga typically does pretty well in the tournament, and I just kind of went with that historical trend there.
All right.
Great coach, great team. They didn't perform as well as I think a lot of people thought that they were going to perform, but I think that kind of allows them to be kind of like that underdog story that could make a run potentially. So
Gotcha. Sammy boy?
I have Georgia actually.
Oh.
I was looking. Yeah,
beat 'em.
we're back. We're back. I was actually looking at obviously Gonzaga this year, a little bit of a down year for them as
Yeah.
far as their standards go. I was actually looking at next year's recruiting class as well. Obviously, this is a little bit out of left field, but I can see them kind of becoming maybe a little bit like a Kentucky, like a team that's obviously does really well year in year out, but Kentucky's lost like 2-3 years in a row now in the first round. And I can maybe see Gonzaga starting to tiptoe into that territory if they don't kind of get back some of those blue chip recruits that they've been used to getting over there. But don't know a ton about Georgia. I know that they had a pretty solid last month or two in the SEC to kind of not scrape in, but I can see them having enough firepower and enough juice to get over Gonzaga in this one.
Dude, for real. All right, P, who you got?
Yeah, I got Gonzaga. I just think that their historic coaching and they've made the tournament like 25 years in a row.
Yeah.
And
Trash
they're
league,
usually-
by the way.
Really, until a couple of years ago, they were really known as the team that would win a couple of games, and then they would always they were usually like a 2 or 3 seed at that point. But I think they're pretty well coached into winning a game or two. I don't have them beating Houston. I will say, like I said, I don't have any 1-2s losing in the second round. If I were to pick one, it would be Louisville over Auburn, or this would be the other one, be Gonzaga over Houston, just because of the injury that Houston has as well. I think one of their guys is out too. I think. I'll have to look at that. No, Houston.
Yeah,
that was something I
did see
overlooked.
that. I can't
Roberts,
remember.
big man Roberts.
One of their big, and I feel like that happens to Houston every year. They always get to the
Yeah.
tournament and they're always injured. But I mean, I don't have that upset, but I think if that did happen, it wouldn't shock me if Gonzaga did lose. But I've got Houston losing in the next round anyway, so it doesn't matter. to me.
Really, that's
But-
wild. Yeah, I got the Zags too. I just feel like every year, like there's certain years you can point to in the past where Gonzaga's had like kind of an off year. You can point to this. I think they lost to St. Mary's either once or they lost to them twice, and then wound up beating them in the WCC championship game to punch their ticket. I mean, Gonzaga was going to be in anyways, but they were just like, all right, we're done messing around. A little bit of a win streak to end the season. Also, WCC tourney wraps up early, so they've had all this rest, which can kind of play against you. But I mean, I think they have a good enough coach who's done it before, so he knows how to deal with it. Yeah, Mark Few. Yeah, but I got the Zags winning just because I usually shade SEC, but Georgia was actually kind of cooling off near the end of the season, and I think the Zags have hit their stride, and they have this ridiculous run of making like Sweet 16s. I have them losing to Houston, but like I could see them making a deep run because I mean you kind of bet on the coach at this point, and I mean there's something to the aura around the Zags, I guess. All right, we're going to move on. We're going to start with Sammy Boy because his Clemson is playing McNeese. This is actually one that gets a little dicey on my bracket, but who you got winning this?
Clemson.
Clemson? That's all. Enough said? Brad Brunell.
Yeah, I mean,
Shefflin?
Brad Brunell, Ian Shefflin, he's been playing really well. He's been playing really well all season. Chase Hunter had a little bit of a rough tournament, especially the last game there, but he can kind of turn it on whenever he wants. I think they're a well-rounded team, and I have them going pretty far in the tournament overall. So,
Jared?
Yeah, I picked McNeese, bro. I don't know.
every game.
One of you guys' brackets is gonna be like really good.
Really
dude. What's
good
gonna
and really
be
bad.
I was saying, someone's going to lose. It's not going to be good.
Yeah.
You
I
have
don't
a
know.
lot of upsets, I feel like.
Well, I have 8 in the first round. You really want around at least 6, typically 8. So
Yes.
this was
Mine is a little bit chalkier than usual.
So hey, yeah, that's
That's
not
just
looking
this
too.
year, man.
I know.
This year's just weird.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just I just have a feeling Clemson never does well in the tournament. So I think they're gonna get smoked.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. They made it
By
Elite
McNeese?
8 last year.
Yeah,
Smoked
that was
by
their-
McNeese?
What was their seed
Yeah.
last year? What was
They-
Clemson and they made a run? It was
8,
like an
something
8.
like
And I will say that
they
was the first
were-
year I was like, okay, Clemson, okay, you're legit.
6.
But this, I
They were
I
a
just
6
think
Yeah,
last
historically they've never been
Historically
really a
before
tournament
that,
team.
Interesting. Gotcha.
pretty poor.
All right, Petey, who you got?
I'm with Sammy Boy. I got Clemson going pretty far. Clemson's my dark horse for a few different reasons. And this is not, people are going to be like, oh, Peter just cares about the ACC. People that know me, I love the ACC. I
thought I knew you.
hate Clemson. I hate Clemson with a passion.
Every
It just-
fiber
Oh,
of his
Syracuse.
being.
That's why.
The fans, I work with some guys who are Clemson fans, and like we go back and forth all the time. The whole
Gone to
Clemson,
games.
yeah, the whole Clemson like aura, the CL, it's just like, oh,
Syracuse has a
we
chant,
went, we went
too.
to some football game and like, who are they playing? The Naval Academy or whatever it was. Who was that
Citadel.
football- We
Yeah.
played the Citadel. I was cheering for the Citadel so hard. I was like, can you guys please like pull out this great upset? But anyways, I'm
Yeah, I
not a
don't know why I
huge.
took you 2 fools to that game. That was like,
Hey, it was a football game, but Clemson's got champion. Like they've got guys on their team who have made deep runs in the tournament that they did last year. Yeah, Chase Hunter. I think his brother's on the team now too as a freshman,
Dylan.
right? I watched
He
a
was
lot.
on there last year, actually.
I watched
too.
a good amount of their games this year. You know, Ian Shefflin's. I think they're just a well-rounded
Shefflin's
team.
good, yeah.
They've got that big Russian dude too.
Yes,
they,
him as well.
They
He's a
lost
good
PJ
shot
Hall
blocker.
last year, and they
Yep.
replaced him with someone who's low key kind of better because he's got a better shot.
This is a bummer though. I see Jared's perspective too. I literally when I watched McNeese championship game and I was like, whoever McNeese plays, I'm gonna pick them. And then when I saw the matchup, I was like,
Yeah.
unless it's Clemson, because McNeese actually has a Syracuse transfer, Quiddier Copeland, who was like one of our one of our better players last year, and he's just been balling out for them. Just kind of, it's kind of funny. He basically was like, I can either play at Syracuse and lose a bunch of games, or I can go to one of these small schools and just dominate.
And get into the tournament.
Yeah, he was, and that's literally what he did. Like he's just going there, and he's kind of a fun player too. He plays a little bit like backyard style. He kind of throws behind the backs. And
Is
stuff like that.
McNeese a Texas team? Dumb question.
I'm not
I mean,
sure.
there's like a
Where are
cowboy
McNeese
mascot
from?
or
Louisiana, maybe.
I have no
But
idea.
I'm not sure. Someone fact check that real quick.
I got
I
it.
had to pull that.
Yeah, I got Clemson too. Just to kind of keep it moving here.
Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
Suburb of
Louisiana.
New Orleans.
Cool. Side note: have you guys seen their team manager going around the internet?
No.
McNeese?
I
Well,
heard
you were
about
out
it,
of
but
the
I don't
country,
know. I don't know what
You're
it's
out of touch. You got to catch up with the pop culture
do.
now.
No.
You also don't have Instagram, so have you seen anything about that?
I've not, and I have Instagram.
It's just
All
you.
right, cool. It's just me, I guess. Your algorithm's weirder than mine, so we're just gonna
Don't need to get in.
we're gonna keep it a buck there. Just keep it moving. No, I got Clemson winning here. I think McNeese has had a good season, but Clemson's just hot. They beat Kentucky. They've beaten one of the only teams in the ACC to beat, or the only team in the ACC to beat
yeah.
to beat Duke. I think they're just
With Cooper Flag.
with Cooper Flag playing. It was obviously a home game, but I mean, beating Duke's beating Duke. So I got
Home game for Clemson. Their fan atmosphere is basically a bunch of 70-year-old white men, so it's not like they really have a great fan atmosphere.
I got Clemson winning 2 games, so they're going. I wouldn't say deep, but they're losing to Houston in my bracket.
Do you have them
Um,
winning against Houston?
I have Clemson in my Final Four.
really? Okay, we'll get to
That's
we'll
five.
get, we'll get
Five below, yeah.
we'll get to those in a little bit.
don't even have them.
Jared wanted to talk this one. Purdue High Point.
Yeah, this one's a good one. I didn't get to watch High Point, but from what I've heard, like they're pretty exciting to watch. Purdue, it's always they do really well or really bad, and that's the
Facts.
The thing
Yeah.
about picking dangerously with Purdue. So I've kind of hedged like they will win one game, maybe 1 or 2. But right now I have Purdue, and so we'll see.
okay.
That Braden Smith's Big Ten Player of the Year,
Yeah,
really good at
he's good.
a court general. But yeah, we'll see what this one goes. I'm really excited for this game.
Anybody got the upset?
I watched this championship game and I got so hyped behind this team. So I was watching this game. I actually came into the second half, the High Point championship game. They were losing by 14 points in the second half. So when I tuned in, and I don't remember who they were losing to, but they started full court pressing, and their defense was just nasty. They were just deflecting balls, and they were missing shots. They were scoring on offense. So I'm watching this game as it progresses, and then the announcer said that all 5 guys on the – so this was like, it goes from 12 minutes to 5 minutes, and all of a sudden it's like almost tied, and they're coming back. And the announcer says that they had all bench players in the game. None of the starters were on in the championship game in the second half of that, the last 10 minutes of that second half.
Big.
And he just let the bench players ride. And the announcer was saying, like, this is one of the deepest teams in the country. Because I was watching these guys, and I'm like, this point guard is insane. And I'm like, he doesn't even start. So I didn't even watch any other starters, but they literally.
You convinced me I'm changing.
Yeah. And then
I was
so
literally
I
about to say the exact same
I was
thing.
watching the game, and I was like, and then
way.
you guys have probably seen the reel
Final
of that
Four,
guy,
baby.
That
No,
guy
I'm
with the mean mug, like the really like he has like the most insane like mean mug. Like I watched that game live. They're just they just were stealing the ball, running down, scoring. They had guys that could shoot, guys that could rebound, and then like literally. And I saw one of the things I was watching because. For those of you guys who like play basketball know, if you're a starter on a team and you're like sitting on the bench for the last 10 minutes of your championship game, you would expect those guys to be, they were so hyped for their team. Like they were just excited to win.
Yeah.
They weren't like, oh, we're not playing like they didn't care. They were so happy to win. So I saw that
I
team.
heard they're like a
get
dollar
around.
value Liberty, like they're a Christian school as well.
Yeah.
And they were the 1 seed in their conference. So they only lost 5 games this year. And then when I was really high on them. And then I was like, who are they going to get matched up? Because I was looking at their net ranking too. Because I was like, they might be a 13 seed. They could be a 15 seed. So that would really affect. But the way they ended up in the net, they ended up being a 13 seed playing a 4 seed. And then I saw that 4 seed was Purdue, and I was like, oh, I'm sold.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people, I don't know about a lot of people, they mentioned it when I watched the bracketology. I haven't heard anybody else. But this is a game I'm like, I have zero hope in Purdue. And High Point, this game was also like, they've had like a week and a half to recover. So I'm super excited. And I think they're going to come out really just aggressive and tenacious. But
Boys,
they
are
got
we-
a deep roster.
Are we all changing to High Point? Because
I
I'm
just
about
did.
to too.
So
I just
the-
did.
my
Should we do it for
thing-
the pod? Are
Do
you
it
not
for the
gonna do
pod.
it?
I
Not
High
me.
Point, we're riding with
switched
High
as
Point.
well.
All right,
so
we're
I
on-
switched.
all right, on the pod, if you guys take anything away from this pod, switch to High Point over Purdue.
dude,
And
I
that game
was-
is tomorrow too.
Yeah, it's
Dang.
like the second game or
We're all
whatever,
watching
third
that
game.
one, bro. We have to.
Yeah.
We're all getting off of work. We're coming here and watching High Point.
Yeah, I'm calling in sick.
We're
bro.
putting money on it too. Just kidding.
So I was stuck on this one for like a long time as well, and I did hear some of the things that Peter was mentioning and everything about how they handled their championship game and everything, but didn't know details. And I completely agree with Jared that Purdue either goes far into the tournament or they like just do terrible and they go out in the first round. I don't really see how they can.
That's right.
Really
Tra-
Dickinson beating Purdue, bro. Repping.
That's right.
So
show
I mean,
the
that's
camera. Show the camera. There you go. Let's go.
I originally
FDU.
picked Purdue, but not because of any like solid reason. Like they don't have, in my opinion, like just one guy that can just kind of take over like anything. I just kind of thought that they'd be one of the higher seeds that would be able to pull one out against a lower seed. But I spent a lot of time on that one, kind of trying to figure it out. And yeah, you guys,
Did you guys not see the
Peter
mean mug?
definitely
of
convinced me.
I
the
did.
video of that mean mug guy?
If I can get it, I'm gonna put it.
I'm gonna-
I'll put it right
yeah,
here.
I
The
think-
mean
yeah,
mug
I
of the
saw
kid.
it.
It was one of the most intense mean mugs like on purpose that I've ever done.
dude.
Yeah. No, I saw it.
Yeah, that was hype for sure. I think it wasn't Pat McAfee. He was on some sports talk where they were talking to him about it. He's just like, dude, I do that all the time when I'm feeling it. I was like,
yeah,
dude,
but like it was
feeling
the most.
Are
I
you
mean,
High Point now too?
I'm High Point. We all
Yeah.
switched. We all
We all
switched to High
switched.
Point. I had Purdue just because I wasn't.
Frick
like-
Purdue.
dude. Frick Purdue.
Frick Purdue. Look at that mean mug. Like that's the most.
I'll have it on the screen for the
emphatic
people watching
mean
on
mug
YouTube.
I've
Yeah,
ever
I
seen.
know.
ridiculous.
And
Dude,
I
like,
watched a lot of
look
it.
at that
like,
slope.
I was like, wait, he walked around like the whole half.
He looks
court.
like
He was
Popeye, dude. Like,
Like he just hit he had just hit an and one. I think it either tied or they took
Dude's
the
a
lead with like
legend.
3 minutes left. And like it's just like he was the only white
Dude.
guy in the court, and the whole everybody's just going crazy.
If they end up winning and he hits that mean mug tomorrow, dude, I'm gonna just lose it.
I'm honestly nervous about them potentially beating Clemson because, like I said, I have Clemson in the Final Four.
Yeah.
That's the team I'm worried about making a little bit of a run that makes the Sweet 16. That's a double-digit seed. I'm actually kind of nervous about that game.
Interesting.
But whatever. That's
Yeah.
another.
That'll be interesting. All right, we all switched to High Point. You should too on your brackets.
Let's
This will
go.
come out tomorrow, so this will be.
I
your
apologize
last
if they lose.
Last minute switch.
And
Yeah.
they get blown up. I
It's
saw
all
it.
you.
They
all
get blown
Peter's
off by
fault.
30 points. Everybody's like, what the heck?
All Peter's fault if this ends up happening. Just so you guys know.
I turn on the game. It's 20-6 Purdue.
Go back to work.
Yeah.
Just go back to work.
Everybody go back to work. March is dead. March is
Yeah.
dead. We repeat. No. All right. Last game on the right side. Just because Xavier just pulled off the win against Texas. Illinois Xavier. The reason I highlighted this game is because if Texas won, I just had Illinois winning because I didn't have any faith in Texas. Kind of not doing super well in the SEC. But since Xavier won, I actually have Xavier beating Illinois in the first round. Who we got, boys?
Yeah, I have Xavier as well.
Let's
I like
go.
the 6-11 matchup there. Yeah, I just watching Xavier. They came back in that Texas game,
Yeah.
so I mean, they're definitely a formidable team. Let's see what they do here. Maybe they're the 11 team from the first 4 that make that run. So
Yeah, definitely. Who you got, Sammy?
I have the Illini
Ooh,
actually going
Illini.
through. I was keeping an eye on that Texas Xavier game as well. I liked what Texas was able to do in the tournament. They kind of played their way into March Madness with their performance in the SEC tournament. But Xavier winning, I thought that was an impressive comeback win by Xavier. But ultimately, I think Illinois is going to go through on this one. Illinois have a really nice. I think he's like Lithuanian or something, but he's just a really well-rounded player that I think could do decent. So the 6-11 is enticing, but I am going to go with the Illini on this one.
Interesting. Who we got, PD?
I also have Xavier, just because
Wow.
the win
Lone
there.
Wolf over here.
It's the orange.
Yeah, I basically my bracket rule, because like I said, it's literally 50%. I basically split my 11 and 6s, so I'll pick 2 6s, I'll pick 2 11s, and I just pick the ones I like the best. I like the way Xavier. I just like the team that plays a good team. They played SEC team in Texas. They got a win. I think they're gonna ride that momentum, be able to win a game against Illinois, and that's why I picked Xavier.
Yeah, I picked Xavier just because in the Big East, obviously the Big East, not as strong as like an SEC or Big 12, but they have some quality wins against UConn, Creighton, Marquette. So it's kind of a team you're not sure what you're going to get, but it's the same with Illinois. You're not sure what you get because Illinois had some big time wins in the Big 10, but then they go out and get blown up by 30 to Duke. So it's like, who you going to get on any given day? I know they've been dealing with some like injuries, some sickness, stuff like that. So health is always like a determining factor in this, but I got Xavier moving on. All right, we're going to round out the pod here. We're going to go around and give our final fours. We're going to start with Sam and make our way around. Go ahead.
Really quick about Kentucky. Does anybody have Kentucky getting past the second round? Because they have not gotten past the second round since 2019.
but that was
But
with
they
Cal
don't have.
Power.
That was with Cal.
So I think
Got
Don't
new
matter.
situation.
Still
it's
Kentucky.
I've got them in the Elite Eight. I
did
don't like
too.
Tennessee. I hate Tennessee picking them. They always lose.
Really?
They always lose.
You got Kentucky in the
Bro, I
Elite
got
Eight.
Tennessee going far, bro.
Dang.
Name me a year
Really?
that Tennessee made the Final Four.
How far you
recently.
got?
Like
Kentucky?
they
Is it Final
never
Four?
they never do anything.
All right, we'll get to Final Four. I don't have Kentucky making it that far. I have them losing to Tennessee in the Sweet 16. Because I mean, Kentucky's going to end up playing either Utah State or no, they're going to play Xavier, and I think they beat them. And then then the Tennessee's just. They beat Auburn in the SEC tournament, and so I think Tennessee's just better. And health, Lamont
Dude,
Butler. If Lamont Butler's not healthy, I don't even think Kentucky makes it to the second round. Like, if we're being completely honest.
So we're rolling into our picks now?
Yeah, we're gonna start
Said
with
me
you
first.
and then go around to me.
So what I was going to say about Tennessee is, like you said, they beat Auburn in the SEC tournament. If it wasn't for both Chaz Lanier and Meshack fouling out against Florida, like they were right there with them until they lost those two guys. So, and Florida's everyone's champion, it seems like this year. So I'm really high on Tennessee. I feel like they have the perfect balance of offense and defense, not just with those two guys, but well-rounded as well. They go deep as well. They go into like 8-9 players on their squad. So I can see them going far in this tournament. They're one of my Final Four teams. I have them beating Clemson in the Elite Eight, going up against Duke. But I do have Duke winning against Tennessee to go to the championship. I have them beating Liberty and then also beating Wisconsin. I have Wisconsin going pretty far as well.
All right, who you got on your left side? Don't do your championship. We'll do those right at the end.
And then on the left side, I have Michigan State going up against Florida, which I'm pretty sure is a pretty hot hot pick there. So
For sure. All right, Jared.
All right,
Final
so
four.
keeping the formula in mind, keep picking one 5 seed or lower to make the Final Four. I'm rolling with Michigan, which makes me super nervous because of that UC San Diego matchup. There's a lot riding on that game for me,
Oh,
but we'll see. I think Dusty may take some to the Final Four, another team to the Final Four. So Michigan, I have in the South. Let's see, below that I had Florida. I think Florida makes a run.
who'd you have them beating in the Elite Eight?
Yeah, this is terrible, but I have Kansas. So I have Kansas beating St. John's. And
I had Tech. Anybody else have Tech going to the Elite Eight?
A lot of people are super high on
I
Tech,
like
but
Tech.
I don't.
I like Tech.
I don't
Do
know
I-
enough about Tech, but
No, I don't. My Elite Eight's Auburn, Michigan,
Anyway.
Florida.
I
St.
low-key
John's.
might have them lose that first game.
All right,
I'm not
Jared,
sure of
keep
that.
so
it
yeah,
rolling.
so I had Florida being Kansas. So it's gonna
Against
be,
UNC Wilmington?
Yeah, bro.
Jared's trying to give his Final Four.
I'm trying
Sorry.
to get.
We'll get to your Final Four. You can talk about it when you get there. All right.
And then,
Put him in his place.
Shut up.
And then the East, I got Alabama beating Arizona, and then I have Houston beating Tennessee. So that's my
There you
Final
go.
Four.
All right.
Houston.
All right, Petey, now you can talk.
Bro, that was Sam.
You may speak.
No, I was just saying we were talking about my Final Four. Yeah, I've got really close to Sam. I've got Duke in the top right quadrant. I've got them going far. I've got them beating Wisconsin as well. And then the top left, I've got Michigan State versus Auburn. Got pretty chalky there, except for UNC making a little bit of a run to the Sweet 16 there. But I've got Michigan State in the Final Four. I think that's really a toss-up between Auburn and Michigan State. I think Jared's probably the same, but I usually try to pick. Usually one region is pretty chalk, and then one region is kind of like just chaos. So I think the top left, and usually it's usually the one with the overall 1 seed is usually pretty chalky. So that's what I've got there. Bottom left, Florida people are really high on. I wasn't at first, but I've done a little bit of looking at them. I did watch some of their games. They do have a lot of good scoring. So I've got Florida in the Final Four beating St. John's. I think that's kind of a toss-up. I could see St. John's making it too. Both really good teams. I don't have a ton of upsets other than what we talked about, like in that second round there. I could see Maryland losing, like you talked about. Somebody had Grand Canyon. I could see Colorado State making it win a second game. I don't like. I need.
Second game.
There's always a couple of double-digit seeds that make that Sweet 16, and I only have one. So I've got UNC, but I don't know. I would like to. I might change and pick one more, but that's beside the point. And then, so then the Final Four, formula that we kind of stick to as well. I always pick 3 of the teams will be a 1, 2, or 3, and then I'll pick one that's kind of an outlier, and that's usually how it goes. I think there was one exception. I think it was last year. The last year was 2019. No, 2019 wasn't it, but. Anyways, usually it's like an 11 seed or something like that. This year's the year I've got Clemson. I don't see any really high seeds going far this year. So I've got Clemson beating Houston in that round there. And then I have them beating over Kentucky. You could put Kentucky or Tennessee there. I don't really care.
ACC over SEC.
Yeah, I think I like Clemson's ability to go far. And then are we doing the championship game too?
Not yet. We'll
Not
go
yet.
around and
Okay.
do those.
So that's my Final Four, yeah.
All right, cool. In my South region, I got Michigan State beating Auburn in the Elite Eight. I just think Izzo finds a way. He has, again, this is one of his best teams in 10 years or so. And then in the West, I got Florida beating St. John's. I would pick St. John's if they had better shooting, if they give me something else. Obviously, I can't switch during the tournament, but I would love to see St. John's make the Final Four, but I just don't think.
That's why I think they're going to lose to Arkansas.
Really?
They don't have. They can't not shoot
I know, but they're so
threes.
physically imposing on defense that they make teams take
Dari
horrible
Richmond.
shots.
I think they're
Horrible
overseeded.
Syracuse transfer.
Dude, I know. We could get into
How
some
many
Syracuse.
Syracuse guys you have leave and just kill it on other teams?
Dude, they're killing
lot.
Dude, last year Illinois had one.
It's okay. Kentucky has
who
one
was
of our
in
guys
Illinois?
from Oklahoma State.
What was his name? It was the big guy. Shoot.
From Illinois? I didn't
Yeah,
know we
go
had
ahead.
If you want to thrive
I
in
can look
college
it up.
basketball, leave Syracuse.
Go ahead, look it up. I'm gonna run through these quick. Again, I would love St. John's to make the Final Four, but I think Florida's just too good, and their size is gonna be a problem. I think St. John's lacks that, so I see it ending in the Elite Eight for them. Florida makes the Final Four. And then in the East, I got Duke. I think they have an easy pass. I mean, I have them beating Mississippi State, who they'll beat. Arizona's super flaky. I think Duke beats them. And then I love BYU, but Duke's just a better team, so Duke makes the Final Four in the East region. And then I have Houston coming out of the Midwest. I think their hardest game will be Clemson because I think Tennessee will kind of they got to play UCLA in my bracket, then Kentucky. Those are going to be 2 hard games. They'll definitely win them, but I think Houston has an easier path. Once they get past Clemson, they'll beat Tennessee, and then they'll be in the Final Four out of the Midwest. Did you look that up?
Did you say Illinois?
Illinois last year?
Oh,
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I
last
don't.
season.
I don't remember.
So you have 4 1 seeds in
I
your Final
have
Four.
4 1 seeds. Super chalky.
Boy.
I know.
Yeah.
I've only been
Granted,
doing.
mine's not much better. I have 2 2
I think I've
seeds,
only
but-
like really been doing this for like 3 years, so I don't like them. They have like a method that they use.
What's the percentage on that happening? Like,
It's
Very
it's only
low.
happened like once.
Oh,
It,
wow.
last
Once
time was
Bruh.
2000, last time was 2008.
So this is
Yeah,
one of the
it was a
things that I
long
track with
time
all the brackets. So like you look at 2024, we got a 1, 1, 4, and 11. And this is why like this was the weird. 2023 was the really whack year. But yeah, it's always a 1, 1, 2,
I know
11.
recently there was
It's just
3 1
always-
seeds.
Yeah.
Somewhat recently.
But
Yeah, it was-
I've changed. I
19
changed
maybe?
quite a bit tonight, but this was actually my initial bracket. I haven't even filled out like my actual one. This is pretty close to it. I might take another look at it and be like, I don't know. Like Peter has Clemson going far. That's a good pick. So
It was 2015.
Peter's going through. But all right, we're gonna go back around and we're gonna talk our teams that are in the championship game and who we think is gonna win it all in San Antonio. All right, Sammy starts off.
We're at Duke.
Duke.
It's chalky. I know everybody's picking them, but if
I
Cooper
mean-
Flagg stays healthy, I mean, he's by far and away the best player in the country. He's the best college player I've probably seen in my lifetime. So I like them. I mean, they've obviously shown that they're a really, really strong team even without him.
Even without him, that's what I was gonna say.
By running through the ACC tournament. So
Yeah.
I have them beating Michigan State in the championship.
All right, Jared.
That's good. I just always you never see a freshman that like leads a team like that since like Carmelo Anthony, I think it
Yeah.
was, and so that's the only hesitancy I have it. But I am rooting for Cooper.
He's so
Flagg.
different,
He's so
though.
he
He's
is
so
different.
good.
He's good, man.
So yeah, that's good picks. I'm got right now an SEC championship with Florida, Alabama, Florida winning. So I just
Alright.
Peter
I
gonna
disagree
love
with
that.
Peter. I disagree with Peter. I
We're
think,
gonna boycott that
I
too.
wouldn't.
I think
And then Texas people who listen to the pod will get that. Peter said he was gonna boycott the Super Bowl and ended up
yeah, I
watching
ended
that
up watching
sucker.
it, so
We texted him right before the game. He's like, "Oh, I'm watching." So this will definitely be the same if this happens.
yeah. But yeah, sorry, I disagree with Peter. I think SEC is built for this tournament, and they're gonna prove it this year.
All right, Petey,
Just like all the other years.
give us that championship.
I'm like Sam. I got Duke. I can't believe how much Cooper Flagg is not talked about more. I know people probably think, oh, he's
Right.
talked about a lot.
So good.
The hype that Zion Williamson got compared to Cooper Flagg is unbelievable. I've watched a lot of the Duke games. Cooper Flagg's basketball intelligence level is on a different level. He played against the USA men's basketball team.
Yeah.
People
Yeah,
forget this. Last
exactly.
summer at
Trust him.
17 years old.
Yeah.
And Anthony Davis said he was very impressive.
Yeah.
That is insane to think about the fact that
Everyone said that,
to say that
too.
a 17-year-old kid is very impressive against 30 and at that USA men's team was
Established
old.
all-stars.
Established.
The best
Hall of
players
Fame.
on
Best
the earth.
players on
Hall of
the
Famers.
People were saying that was the dream team too,
Yeah.
like one of the best teams ever assembled.
And
ever.
I watched the one game I watched. I think it was the first matchup against UNC, and it's like he's so much better than even his stats because like it's the defensive plays, it's the basketball intelligence, it's the extra pass. He doesn't care about stats. He doesn't care about numbers. He cares about winning games. He's just an absolute dog. And I've hated Duke for years just because I'm a Syracuse fan and I don't like Duke. I'm actually rooting for them to be successful because of him. I mean, he's phenomenal. So yeah, I've got Duke winning. I've got him beating. I've got Florida in the championship game versus Duke beating. I got Florida over MSU, Michigan State. So yeah, I got Duke.
Duke, wow, crazy. ACC should have guessed.
I think they would have been the overall 1 seed if Cooper Flagg was 100% healthy.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy that they
Yeah,
weren't.
I
but
agree.
I think
Yeah.
that was the only reason. But
Yeah. Well, apparently, did we even talk about that? The fact that West Virginia was left out. I mean,
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
the player was out.
Oh,
Did-
not because
Not
of
the
that reason.
player,
Yeah,
though,
yeah,
but-
that was
one of the reasons
reason
that they
why they
cited. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw us off track, but that just reminded me of it. All right, my championship game, I got Florida and Houston. I have Houston beating Duke in the Final Four. I just think experience and nobody talks about this, but Houston isn't usually a really good 3-point shooting team. They're the best 3-point shooting team in the tournament this year,
Oh, I didn't know.
statistically. And their defense is
They're always
just
defense.
so physically imposing. They make you play at their speed. They just got dogs all across the floor. Now, if there's an article that comes out tomorrow and Robertson's like out for the tournament, I will change this because that, it's very contingent on him playing. But I got Houston beating Duke in the Final Four, going to championship game. Then I got Florida beating Michigan State. I just think Michigan State, their lack of shooting against Florida's just huge, and I think they can match the physicality that Michigan State's going to try to force on them. And I got Florida playing Houston in the championship game, and then I have Florida winning it because I think they just have – I mean, they got –
2 Dukes and 2 Floridas.
Yeah, I think Houston has good size, but I think Florida has the better guards, and they have the better big men. So I got Florida winning
Florida
it all.
versus Duke in the finals and us two rooting for
That'd
Florida. That would be
crazy.
insane. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's our
I have
brackets.
one more thing to
Yes,
ask.
go ahead.
This
Let's
is
go.
my hot take
Hot
that
take.
I
We love
kind of
it.
teased, I think last week maybe even. I'm probably going to get shot down because I can just see it happening that way. But how would you guys feel about the tournament? And I was just reminded of this because I was watching Oklahoma State and then IT yesterday.
Mhm.
The first 2 rounds going to campuses, kind of like what college football did this year. But the first 2 rounds going to college campuses
To be legit home games.
to be legit home games. Like, can you imagine a March Madness game at Cameron Indoor?
Yeah, that'd be wild.
Like, bro, that would be insane. I think that they could do a system. Like, when I was thinking about it, it didn't click that it was kind of like what football did this year. But, like, obviously you have the top 4 seeds. They have home. Or did they have home games? Technically, they had home games, I think.
Yeah.
In the very first round. But then you could also, like, since you don't have just the top, like, was it 9 seeds that would have home games, you could also do, like, Montana. They won their conference, so they could have a home game against, like, a 3 Wisconsin or something like that. Like, how would you guys feel if the first 2 rounds until you get to the Sweet 16 was at college campuses? I would love that, bro.
I think the idea is great, but like, isn't Cameron Indoor like only like 1,500 people or something like that? It's like super small, isn't it?
Not
Yeah,
1,500.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You
We'd
mean
have
15,000.
to look. Really? I thought.
But
I remember
still,
it being
dude,
like super.
But think about. I thought about this too, and like the reason I would want to move it to campuses is because of the attendance. Like, even though like these first 2
it's not
games,
that
bro,
stupid.
like they aren't packing out the stadium for Duke and Mount St. Mary's. Like, there's
Right.
gonna like that's my problem with, like, obviously March Madness is mad hype. Like everybody loves it, but like there's not, like, people aren't packing out the stadium, especially for the first 2 games. Like, you always see spotty attendance in these stadiums and in these like arenas because they're in Timbuktu, wherever, except for Louisville. They can play at freaking home apparently. But like they're always like far away from the actual like schools and stuff. So I would love to see like the Sweet 16. Enough people are going to be interested. It's like it's a Sweet 16 game. They're going to travel. But like for those first couple games, like I would love to see it on college campuses. Never going to happen because March Madness does not, like, that's where they make their money, is like selling it to, these big cities and these big arenas and stuff. But I would love to see that happen. But anyway,
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that would just be difficult with the.
it would, but I would like it.
yeah, but I mean, it's an interesting. It would make, because like for me, I don't like watching I wouldn't want to watch, because we've had the games here in Greenville before. Like, I don't want to go watch the first. I want to sit on my couch and watch like all the games. So the only people that are gonna go, like you're
Exactly.
saying, are the people who are fans of those teams.
Correct.
But I just feel like that would affect the tournament in a big way.
You
as
wouldn't
far
go to
as-
a Syracuse March Madness game if you were living in New York?
No, he
1,000% you would go.
No, he wouldn't.
No, I probably
Stop.
No, I would, but like.
But that would work
I
because it's
would.
a dome. It's a big.
But that would,
arena.
I think, affect a lot of like upsets, the potentials and stuff. Like, you'd have a huge
Yeah,
home
maybe,
court
but I would
advantage.
I would love it.
So I think that's why they wouldn't. But one quick thing I would
I would
add-
just love the crowd atmosphere in those first
Yeah.
2 rounds, because that's where all the buzzer beaters happen
Yeah,
and stuff.
that's
Like,
true.
I would love the atmosphere to be so much better.
one
and more
idea
hype,
that
but-
I've had that I think would be kind of lit, instead they did the first 4 would be like AAU style. So instead of having the games tonight and yesterday, you show up on Thursday morning, the tournament, and you play the
Play
games,
the next
all
game.
4 games,
Stop.
and then if you
in
win,
a 2-day span or
and
whatever.
if no, you're
play
playing
the
that day.
day.
If
Oh,
you
heck,
win,
They would never
you're
do
playing
that.
Thursday
Never.
afternoon.
I thought I had a hot take.
They
Dude,
would
could
never-
you imagine
Insane.
showing
Dude,
up on a
they
plane
would
and
never-
being like, we might be playing here, we
Dude,
might not?
they would never, because these kids are worth millions of dollars now, like personally and to the
You can play 2 basketball games in a day.
Yeah, but dude, there's already talk about like
Rest
how much they're
and stuff,
playing
yeah.
and rest and stuff like that, and like they're literally
be
playing
lit.
like one day to
Way
the next
more
day.
injuries.
AAU
Holy.
style. AAU style. It's not injury. No, it's not like football or anything like that. Like you can play multiple basketball games in a day. It'd be fine.
No,
Jared, what do you think about
yeah.
my take?
No,
I think it
that's
could be
good.
interesting, but again, like I think then that
We're not thinking logistically in here and like
No.
money, like
No.
just pure like love
That's
for the
why-
game.
Then
Like
then
as a
I'm
fan
for
that
it.
would be amazing. But
Yeah.
again, NCAA like they want to
They'll
capitalize
never
on
do
making
it.
money of that,
Right.
so they're not going to do that.
no,
Yeah.
I know they're not going to, but
I
I'm
like-
just,
No,
Because I like
How
seeing
lit
those,
would that
I
be?
like seeing
That'd
those
be cool.
upsets. I feel like you would see significantly less.
Less,
Like
right.
a 15 seed that goes on a run, like it's gonna get swallowed up by a home crowd. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if they're playing at Duke or something like that, it's not gonna be the same.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's interesting. I think it would get more people to show up to these first matchup
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
yeah, and
the upsets would kind of like
Yeah.
Mount St. Mary's is gonna go into Cameron Indoor and be like
Like
True,
it'd be,
like, this is
it'd be
like-
a 40-point blowout.
it'd also
Like,
be cool
their
for
bench
those.
has more people than our entire stadium.
Yeah, but it'd also be cool for those smaller teams because like they're like when are they ever
When
going
are
to
they
play
gonna
at
play at
Cameron
Cameron
Indoor?
Indoor?
Never.
Yeah, like we
Never.
always talk about UMBC. Have you seen their gym? It's like
Right.
literally 1,000 people fit
Right.
in there.
Exactly.
Like-
Exactly. But what if UMBC like wound up being like a one
One
seed?
seed.
and
Imagine
then
everybody
you have like
piling,
1,000.
They won their
person-
tournament and they got Duke to come into their place.
That'd be
Like, bro,
nuts. No, I fall along the lines with Jared. Like my heart says like this would be awesome like for college basketball and just like how it is, the pageantry and all that. But NCAA is never gonna do it because I looked it up. I was way off. I don't know where I got that 1,500 from Cameron Indoor. It's around 9,000, but
still small.
It just
for an
looks like it
arena.
'cause
yeah,
everyone's so
yeah. Where Louisville's
compact.
gonna play Creighton tomorrow, starting off is Rupp Arena, and that's 20,000. So obviously, more seats, more money, more tickets. That's just what the NCAA is about. It's all money, dude.
That's
It's
whack
all
that they
money.
get to play there
It's
too.
all money.
But whatever.
But anyways, we appreciate you guys coming on. Appreciate you for letting us be at your house. I mean, you literally just got in the country
12:30.
like 12:30.
I might just go to work right now, honestly. Stupid.
You're nuts. You're nuts. But we're literally less than 12 hours away from the first game. Super hype. Time to change your brackets if you.
What
if
time's
you
the
want to.
first game?
Like 12:05.
12:15.
12:15.
Is it 12:45? Every year it's 12:15. I'm gonna
12,
lose my mind.
12:15.
No,
I-
says 12:15 right
Yeah, 12:15.
Okay. I didn't know.
You scared me there.
12:15. So we
an
are.
extra half hour.
So, so we're literally less than 12 hours away. Everyone get your brackets in. Also, if you haven't gotten in on the bracket challenge on the pod, go to the Instagram, follow the Instagram, hit the link in the bio, and $100 prize. Sammy Boy's fronting all the money. No, I'm kidding. But we appreciate you guys for listening. We hope this helps you guys out. Again, check us out on all our platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Like and subscribe. Leave a review. Share the pod. That would really help us out. Appreciate you guys a lot, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.